Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all. Welcome to another Monday at Trackalicious. We've got round 2 of the spring season of both the GT4 Open Championship and the Rookies, which we will have coming up very shortly. Soon with the qualifying session. Today our races are held at the Hungaroring in Hungary. My name is Kuja Terekov. Alongside me today is our good friend, sim racing enthusiast, Tyler Morgan. How are you doing today, Tyler?
I am doing absolutely fine. I am quite hungry, but that just makes sense given the location we are at this week in Hungary at the Hungaroring. Probably one of my more favorite circuits to both drive and watch some GT4 action. I cannot wait to see what we have in store today.
Neither can I. It should be an absolutely thrilling event today. And the qualifying, I believe, is ticking underway, so hopefully we don't have a black screen issue this time. No promises as always, but let's get ourselves down to the track and see what we've got going on today. We've got a 20-minute session ahead of us, with the GT4 Rookies starting us off. 20-minute qualifying session, 10 minutes for the odds, 10 minutes for the evens, and then the grid will be set. And that's gonna be how we determine who stands out in the qualifying session on top today. Of course, the lovely Hungaroring providing a very unique challenge with how the corners flow. A lot of really fast medium speed corners, I would say. Not too many really good overtaking opportunities, but a lot of places where drivers can capitalize on the overspeed advantage of others. And with that being said, no one has yet to set a time. Tyler, what would you say are your biggest challenges and things that you like about the Hungaroring?
The Hungaroring is a very flow circuit. It takes a lot of time to really kind of get yourself in the flow of things. That corner right there in the GT4s, it'll be a little bit easier to take the blind uphill left-hander of turn 5. It'll be easier to take in the GT4s compared to how it would be in a GT3. Like I said, just nice flowing track. The hard parts, the challenges is definitely the track limits. It's very easy to break those track limits, especially on the blind uphill. The curbs do come on you a little bit quite quickly, so you just have to make sure that you're keeping within the white lines of the track. Obviously, you want to use all the curbs on the entrances and the exit, but you don't want to do it too much as you possibly ruin your lap or possibly get yourself into some track limit trouble. Now, for the Rookies, it won't be so much as a problem considering it's two 20-minute races, but in the Open, it might be a little bit of a problem. And Nairaz, I think you should focus on practicing for your Hungara race in the Open instead of focusing me on talking about food, but that's just always how it's been.
Of course, Hungary makes us hungry for food. A few lap times set on the board. Sug with the fastest lap at the moment of a 54.190 gives us a benchmark for the other drivers to chase down. Vicente Moreira in the very colorful blue, green, and yellow Porsche victory of Conquest Porsche. Rolling around pretty well here in third place, just 8/10 off of the qualifying pole position time at the moment. Still plenty of time to improve though. The even numbers are going out first this week and followed after the 10 minutes are up. The odds will go next, and they will have 10 minutes of time to challenge the times of all of those runners that are going on track out at the moment. We'll see what kind of lap Vicente Moreira has in store here. Is able to improve his time, and the position goes up to second place, now just 7/10 off of the lap set by Sug. And just a few drivers behind. Mark Cooley in the Mercedes AMG number 326 currently sits in fourth position with still 4 minutes left in their session to try and improve that lap time.
Now, you do see a couple drivers here that are even numbered that aren't going out. Now, because of the joys that was the chaos of race 2, at Imola last week, some drivers did pick up some penalty trouble. Excuse me. Now I won't name those people. They know who they are. You'll tell by the end of qualifying. But it's very important not to have lap one incidences, and this is the reason right here. You pick up penalty trouble, you pick up a qualifying ban, you pick up a pit lane start, and it won't ruin your championship, but it'll take a dent in it, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%, especially starting from the back around a track like Hungaroring, where overtaking opportunities aren't too very few places to pull off a very clean move, like as we like to say. Not too many heavy braking zones. This is probably one of the better ones, coming down the hill after the first corner, and then maybe potentially lining up side by side to take the inside or the outside. And then, of course, coming into the very, very high-speed corner after the first sector, which Sam Warden is approaching now in the number 22 Porsche. Currently sits in third place, just 7/10 off of pole position. A little bit of time to improve, but still has time in qualifying to do that. Don't you dare jinx me later, Tyler, says Octane. And yeah, of course, we will always have the Tyler predictions, and we will see just how they play out during the races.
Don't give me the option to, is the best way I can say it. For some strange reason, my ability to curse people just bodes no bounds. Even when I did commentary for other places like DRL, it's just something that happens. I can't, like, if I even think about them for 1 second, next thing you know, they've spun out and hit a wall. So, but thankfully this is Hungaroring, so there's a little bit more exit places, there's a little bit more runoff that each car can get into for not having to deal with the wall. This isn't Monaco, this isn't Bathurst, this is Hungaroring. It's a little bit easier, but like I said before, you just gotta get into the flow state in this track, and if you can get into the flow state, you'll have a good time. Now, which Sullivan is this? I'm gonna butcher it again, and I don't want to do it.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's Shane Sullivan in the rookies, and then Scott Sullivan races in the championships on Sundays, if I'm not mistaken. Is that where you know Scott Sullivan from?
I don't know where. I think I raced a Sullivan when I did the rookies last season for like the 4 races I did it. Gotcha. And then kind of nothing else happened. But we have the 84 here of the... Is it just all... There's literally all Porsches and 1 Merc. That is the qualifying session for the evens. It's almost all Porsches. What is this? I didn't even notice this till now. Why is it all Porsches?
Everybody who is not in a Porsche is currently in the pits, serving more than likely their penalties. At the top, though, Sugg is able to improve his time to a 153.6 as the track rubbered into optimum. It was fast at the beginning of the session, so a little bit of a disadvantage to those running at the beginning, not quite having the perfect conditions to set their lap times. So we'll just see how how those improved track conditions will help the odds later on. Vicente Moreira, though, still going around, started his lap before that 10-minute timer was up, so he is able to keep going and try to improve his time, him and Joan Perez as well. In the Porsche Motorsports number 20 car, lots of people seeming to switch up the cars this week. Lots of stock liveries, a few custom ones we've seen here and there, but yeah, as we know in the rookies, you are able to switch cars between the races for the rookies to find which car they perhaps like to drive more than the other. It's not really to benefit them in the championship to try to get, one car is better on one track versus another kind of thing. It's just for them to figure out which car suits their driving style a little bit better and get used to how the GT4s handle in the sim. And that is the time up for the even numbered cars, apart from Vicente Moreira, who is still on a lap, but running a little bit wide right as we cut to him, and unfortunately losing a lot of time in that corner, but is still going to cross the line. Maybe some improvement left in the final corner for Vicente, and we will see if he can improve on that time and get a little bit higher up the order before the odds make their way around. Not quite able to do so, and is going to have to return to the pits.
I think he invalidated there on the penultimate corner there. I think he just went across the white lines there in that hairpin. I think he just ruined his lap there. But yeah, Juan Perez also had a looked like he was going to do a nice time, and then he got track limits in sector 3 and also had his time deleted. So nothing they can do about that. They just got to sit back, relax for the next 8 minutes, and wait for race number 1 to begin. And yes, the GT4 has turned into the Porsche Cup somehow. I don't know how it's happened, but we were all Aston Martins last week, and now we're all Porsches this week, as we will now ride on with Brian De Santiago. I probably have gotten that name wrong, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, just completing their outlaps here. No one quite yet on a push lap of those odd-numbered cars. Well, actually, they are in a push lap, but they just haven't crossed the line to complete a valid lap time yet. And Santiago is kind of at the back of this queue, so we will tune in a little bit further up with Rally Dutchy, just a little bit up the road, crossing the start-finish line in the Mad Fox livery. Was showing up last week. Not quite sure why it isn't showing up this week. Maybe a few edits on our end, a few edits on his end sent that livery awry, but hopefully we'll get that fixed. Nonetheless, starting a lap is Rally Dutchy. At the front, though, Dr. Porkchop in the Alpine. I believe he has already started his outlap, and this is his first flying lap attempt. So let's ride with this teal Alpine and see how it goes.
I think a 153 is like going to be pretty good here. 152 152 will obviously be ideal here, but a 153 might not be too bad. And he is invalidated somewhere on his first official attempted lap, so he's going to have to go again and give it another try. We have the 69 of, I'm going to butcher that again. I cannot get that name right. The 69 Aston Martin. He is not going to be able to do his timed lap. Are all these guys just invalidated their time lap somewhere? No, Sullivan does not. He is going to be 2 seconds and 2/10 behind Sugg. And then we had Jorgensen, who's going to be behind Sullivan. And yeah, a lot of drivers seeming to invalidate their first push laps, but that's not necessarily surprising, is it, Kuja?
Yeah, especially with the GT4 warm-up period. The tires have no tire blankets on them, so it does take a lap or two to get the temperatures and the pressures up to the optimal conditions for a push lap, so that is more than likely what we're seeing, just another sort of pushing out lap to get the car warmed up, and now we should really see that times tumble down, as Shane Sullivan currently leads the odd-numbered drivers, but is still behind all of those even runners who have already made their way across the line. And yeah, just a few more drivers yet to set lap times who are out on track. We'll see just exactly where they filter in, and plenty of drivers still stuck in the pit lane, unfortunately, due to those penalties that you mentioned earlier, Tyler.
Yeah, it's definitely I've been on the side of sitting in the pit lane, waiting for either the pit lane start or the qualifying ban to go through, and it's honestly it's not fun watching all the other drivers set lap times that sometimes you feel you can beat. Like it really does affect you a little bit, at least in my case, but you just got to move on. You just gotta do your best, gotta focus in and just do your best coming out of the pit lane or from the back of the grid, and just do your best not to do some lap 1 contact, and slowly build the aggression from there. But Dr. Porkchop gets a lap in, and so does Ramirez. They will split the even runners, and so far it is an all Porsche top 4. My goodness.
Yeah, lots of Porsches on the grid tonight. Good lap from Ramirez. Yeah, just like you said, splitting those top two, 8/10 off of pole position, and plenty of runners still to go to set valid lap times in the back, or still on a slight push lap to improve their lap times. Conton Roman, one of those yet to set a lap time, currently qualified in 19th position, but that will surely improve if after he sets a valid lap time. With 3.5 minutes on the clock, he's still got plenty of time to set one or two, probably two more attempts for him to go after he crosses the line on this lap, and we will see just where he filters in. The number 7 Aston will go 15th overall, 5.7 seconds off, but I believe he started the qualifying just a little bit late, so maybe this is just one of those outlaps for now.
I would hope so. Just 5 seconds, like 2 seconds off the slowest guy in the back is not necessarily the most nice thing, but it is rookies, so it's bound to happen. This track, like I said, does need a little bit of flow, and that is the 420 Oz of Wade Jorgensen. That is an actually nice livery. I like that a lot. The British color, the British flag and the Aussie flag there with those like kind of neonish colors, that actually really does pop, and that's a quite nice livery. However, he is in a McLaren, so I'm a little bit indifferent to it. If it was in like an Aston, I'd probably think of it better. And that is the 69 McLaren, getting to within 2/10 of the provisional pole lap time. So I guess his tires are warm now. Hey.
Yeah, tires warmed up, lap times are tumbling. We'll see exactly what Wade Georgeson can do here in the 707 McLaren. Not able to set a valid lap time on this go-around. Does improve the time, but can't improve... Oh, sorry, does not improve the time, so either way, still plenty of time for him to go and push on again. And at the top, yeah, we've got Christoph Schinka split it at the top of those odd runners. Brian DeSantiago just slowing down a touch, letting a few drivers through before setting up for their last push attempt. Just a few minutes left in the qualifying, so not too many more laps to go. If drivers can get to the line before the checkered flag waves, they can, of course, finish the lap that they are on. And so this will be the last attempt for Brian DeSantiago in the 777 BMW to improve from 4th place to potentially put that BMW into pole position.
I think Schink will have enough time to maybe do another. Yeah, I think he'll be okay. If this lap doesn't count, he'll have time to do another. The 157 of Ramirez will have time to do another. Maybe Sullivan will have another. But it'll be, the cutoff will be I'm gonna stutter with that name, Georgeson, that'll be a cutoff, and I'm pretty sure he's just invalidated, and so has the 621. So they will both be done for the qualifying session, given there's 30 seconds left, and we now have a new pole provisional time, a 153.602 from the 69 Aston Martin, and it is less than a 10th ahead of Sugg. Wow.
Yeah, good lap time there from Schinka, able to improve and get that 69 Aston Martin into pole position for now. Still drivers on some valid laps trying to improve as the timer hits 0, so everyone who is on a lap is able to finish their attempt and see just exactly where they finish up on the grid today. Brian DeSantiago approaching the final few corners now, going through turn 12 before the two hairpins of 13 and 14. Really tight corners. You're really kind of hesitant to get on the power, even though you really want to as early as possible to save as much lap time down this little straight that you have, as well as out of the last corner before that start-finish straight, getting all the lap time they can. DeSantiago going around the final corner, currently sits in 4th. Where will he end up after this time? Improves his lap time to a 54.592, but that is not enough to get him into 3rd place, and will start on that 2nd row in 4th place. And I believe there's just one driver left with a qualifying attempt, and that is Emmanuel Ramirez in the Costa Rica Racing Team 157 Porsche.
Definitely. Again, the spotlight's all on him. All the drivers sitting, waiting at the main menu screen, wondering why the race hasn't flipped over yet. Ramirez has the opportunity, depending on how much time he has gained. He at least, if he somehow splits the 34 Porsche and the 69 Aston Martin, that'll be a shock to me. But he's got to do just enough. No matter what, he'll start on the second row no matter what. But can he get onto the second row? Can he get first row? Can he get on pole position? No, he can't. He will stay third place on the second row. And now we get into my favorite part, the racing.
Alex Hansen on the podium. Hello, Alex. And you redeemed a hydrate. Thank you very much. I did just that. It was off camera, but I hope you can trust me. And I did take a sip of some tea. And yeah, like you said, Tyler, starting grid time. And we'll start with the top 10 with you, my friend.
All right, so we have Christoph Schink in the 69 Aston Martin, the Trek Romania Aston Martin. Next for company on him, second place, Colin Sugg in the Slug Racing Porsche number 34. He will keep Schink for company. On the second row, we just finished watching him, the 157 Porsche of Emmanuel Ramirez for Costa Rica Racing Team. And then he has got De Santiago for company in the 777. Now in the casino, that would be some winnings. Let's see if we can hit those lucky numbers tonight. And then we got Shane Sullivan. Might I refer to you, Shane Sullivan, in the 617 Racing BMW. Dr. Porkchop has qualified well. He sits in 6th in the Alpine number 71. And then behind him, he has got Vincente Morea in the Victory of Conquest number 84 with Brazil slapped all over it. And for company for him, he has got Sam Warden in the Porsche Motorsport number 22. And then we get on to the final two people in the top 10. We have Maicon Gizoni in the McLaren Racing 147. And then we got Juan Perez in the Porsche Motorsport number 20. We have 5 Porsches in the top 10. How many will we have in the latter half?
Well, let's find out. In 11th, we've got Wade Georgeson in the 420OZ707. Good. Thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Behind him, we've got Mark Cooley in the 326MC Racing Mercedes-Benz. Followed closely by Matt Hugh in the first Camaro on the grid that we have seen in the 53 V8 Racing. I can't quite see it in the pictures, but I promise you it's there. Chris Saunderson in the Go For It All Racing number 18 Porsche. 15th on the grid is Rally Dutchy in the Mad Fox 621 Aston Martin, keeping the Aston Martin of Conton Roman for company in the number 7. Moriko Yatanashi in the Mad Fox 153 Aston Martin lines up in 17th on the grid with the number 18 driver Joe Allenson in the Imori Racing 76 Porsche. Mark Sagan will start from the pit lane in the 77 Mark Sagan AMG Mercedes. Valerio Martino will start on the grid in 20th in the 111 Porsche. And last but not least, Ryan Eason starting from the pits in the Jurassic Racing number 2 Porsche. And pretty much perfect timing as the drivers start their formation lap.
It'll definitely be interesting to see how now. What sucks about a pit lane start is like you want to be at the front of the pits so that way you don't have to travel the entire length of the pits as soon as the lights go green. And for Easton, that's going to be difficult because he's pretty much at the start of the pit lane. So when he finally is allowed to go, he is going to take a long time getting out of the pits. So we'll see where he ends up in all of this, but right now we just have the drivers going through their formation lap procedure, getting the tires as warm as they can, the brakes as warm as they can. Because remember, it's important in here for the rookies to brake for turn 1. It's important at all times to brake for turn 1. But we emphasize it a little bit more with the rookies to avoid lap 1 contact. Take it easy. Don't go for anything too aggressive that will ruin your race or ruin your opponent's race. And then you can slowly start easing the aggression into lap 2. As we ride on board with Shane Sullivan, he's sitting P5 at the current moment. Where will he end up after lap 1? Stay tuned to find out.
Yeah, plenty of action lie ahead. 2 20-minute races ahead for the rookies. Race 1 coming up just after the qualifying session, with race 2 having the same grid as the order in the qualifying. So this will be the same order for the start of race 2, except for those starting from the pit lane will start on the grid, as they have already served their pit lane start penalties and will no longer need to do that. Soon the drivers will go into Sector 3 and start thinking about lining up side by side, getting ready for the start of race 1.
It'll be very interesting to see who's going to take advantage of the zipper formation race start. I've never been really good at race starts. They've always been my kryptonite. I never can seem to just get the launch right. And for Moriko Yatanashi, they have really good pace here. It's just how, with their qualifying ban, they had to start at the back. So let's see how many places they can gain up with their insane pace.
Yeah, podium sitter last time was Moriko Yatanashi, having to start all the way down in 17th. And yeah, like you said, with that heavy pace advantage, it'll be interesting to see how far that 153 Aston Martin will climb through the rankings as we go around the final corner. Drivers are lining up side by side in zipper formation. A pretty short run up to the green light flag, and as soon as those green lights go, the time will start and the race will be underway. Crossing the start-finish line now, and there goes the green lights. A brilliant start from Shinka in the 69. Sug at a little bit of a disadvantage, falling back to the 2 BMWs, and they're going to go 4 wide into turn number 1. Shane Sullivan takes the inside line. Ramirez gets it on the braking, though, and takes second place back. Now Sug is at a bit of a disadvantage going side by side with the BMW into turn number 3. We're going to see if the BMW can take the momentum around the outside and then the inside for the next corner. The BMW takes the position, sweeps around the outside, and now has the inside for the next corner, but the Porsche has a really good exit, and they're going 2 by 2 into the really tricky uphill left-hander. And that is a fantastic move from behind the BMW, and Sug are going to go side by side, and now Sug dropping a few places from the start. Now in 5th has the BMW of the 777 of Santiago for company, as they're going to continue this battle into the chicane.
That was excellent racing. So far, it seems no contact. That might have been a situation where the 84 forced the 777 there wide, but so far, excellent racing it seems so far. Dutchie just watching on in absolute shock that no one so far has managed to, we're going 2 by 2 through that area, and that's insane to do. They went 4 wide into turn 1. You don't see that very often, especially from rookies. But so far, all the drivers managing to hold serve right now. Lap 1 seems to be going strong, and so far the rookies all seem to have excellent pace. But for Sug, man, that is tough. You were already P2. You kind of started behind on the race start, and now you're all the way down into P4, fighting for your very life, trying your best to get back up into P3. Now, if you're Dutchie, you got Matthew and Ghizzoni behind you, and you're thinking, oh no, what am I going to actually have Matthew going on the inside here? He's going to do his best to take the slipstream of the Aston Martin and get him into turn 1. Now, the problem is nope, he'll have room at the front, especially if he wants to late brake here. Who's going to be last on the brakes? So far, it looks like Matthew is going to take that inside line and take that position away from Dutchie himself.
Yeah, fantastic move from Hugh, really late on the brakes, just hugging that inside line, not giving Dutchy any advantage to cut back into that straight, into another heavy braking zone, which they are approaching now. And now Hugh can focus up ahead, while Dutchy still has Gizzoni behind for company, but pulling a little bit away, just a small little sliver at the race start. But still, everybody rolling pretty nicely. A few yellow flags we've seen, but nothing too serious. All the pit lane starters are up and rolling, and like you mentioned, Ryan Eason at a pretty heavy disadvantage there, starting so far back from the pits. Currently about 15 seconds off of the back car, but we know Ryan Eason has some good pace, and he should be able to make up a few places from that pit lane start. Brian DeSantiago in the 777, still trying to apply pressure to Sugg. Actually, it's Sugg who is applying pressure to Shane Sullivan for the last spot of the podium. And now Sugg, after that bit of a disadvantageous start, now trying to recover once again and gain on the BMWs in front. Hopefully all is working for Tyler. Hello,
yep,
Tyler.
Everything was good.
Okay,
it was
cool.
just a little bit of audio issues there. I had to come back, but Colin Sugg, I come back, is right on the back of Sullivan, trying his best to maybe get him into turn one here. But it doesn't look like he's along enough side. He's got to worry also about the 777 BMW of Santiago behind him. Santiago goes a little bit deep, might allow Morea to get him here as the 84 comes in slowly behind, as we have a little bit of a train forming here that's led by Sullivan and all the way back to the 84. Maybe you got Pork Chop in there if things go south, but so far as it stands right now, Sullivan is leading this train. As you can see the cars behind him, trying to catch up, make this a little bit of a more four-way battle than it is a 2x2 battle. Santiago going, as both Santiago and Morea go wide there, probably picking up a track limits violation. Sugg gonna go try round the outside here, and that's gonna open up this side-by-side battle going into the chicane. Everyone brake very nicely. Sullivan's gonna take the inside, and that might allow Santiago the opportunity, but nope, he is just gonna sniff the bumper of that Porsche. He can probably identify what he had for dinner tonight. He was up that close. Now Sugg's gonna try and identify what Sullivan had for dinner, as this is just bumper to bumper racing. And will there be any gaps at all? Sugg is going to do his best to try and maybe force an inside move here against Sullivan, and he is going to be last on the brakes. He's covering that inside line, and now we're going to have Santiago try his best here as Sugg gained the position. Now Sullivan's in danger from Santiago. Santiago is going to go way too wide. And that might allow Morea to get in a position, and that's going to allow Pork Chop to also get in this position. What is happening here, Kusha?
This is a fantastic five-way battle from the front through that. Oh no, a bit of a tap from Pork Chop, but Santiago able to hold it, keep it away from the wall. Very Sebastian Vettel-esque, keeping the BMW out of the wall. No damage done, and is still on the tail of Pork Chop after running a little bit wide in turn 13, giving the places up to Morea and Dr. Pork Chop. Now Matt Hugh working his way very well through the field, up into 8th place now, got through Georgeson on the last lap. We see the Camaro in the background there battling with the 707 McLaren, but this 5-car battle for a minute was absolutely fantastic, as Vicente Moreira is going to try to go side by side with Shane Sullivan. Sugg, in the meantime, has run away a little bit. 1.6 seconds is the gap now to this 4-car battle, with the BMWs at the front and the back, with Hugh and Georgeson not too far behind. And now Pork Chop going a little bit wide gives the position to Santiago, who moves now up into 6th place and now on the tail of Moreira once again.
My goodness, that was careful with the contact there, Mr. 84. Do not want to do that, as that's going to allow the Santiago the opportunity, maybe, just maybe, if The exit speed is right. He can get the overlap. That looked like actually insane overlap. Is Santiago going to try it here? Is he going to try a late braking move? Nope, he is just going to follow behind the 84 for now. And that's a little bit of a bump by Sullivan on the curb. You don't want to do that. That's going to allow Morea to get ahead. Oh, and he spins but saves it. The drift, deja vu style. He's going to lose 3 places, though, because of the proximity of all those cars. And that's going to allow Sullivan, Santiago, and Porkchop to take those positions, and then we're going to have Porkchop and Santiago version 2. The battle continues on. The speed of that straight line speed of that BMW is insane. The straight line speed of the Porsche is insane compared to the Alpine. Porkchop, what are you going to do? There's nothing you can do. You've been marinated. You've been sauced. He's going to go through the inside of both of them. It's incredible here, but the speed difference is just too much for that little Alpine against the BMW, and they collide. Oh, he's kept it out of the wall. Matthew's going to go on the inside and take 3 positions. I'm out of breath.
Yeah, this has been absolute chaos. There was bumping from Vicente Moreira and Santiago, giving 3 places to Matt Hugh, working his way up through the field in the 53 Camaro. That was absolutely incredible. Drivers running wide all over the place. Thank you very much for the follow, Andy Music Live. We much appreciate it. Amongst all this chaos, plenty of new fans of racing, and now this 4-car battle has turned into a 6-car battle, with Matt Hugh leading the pack, and now Wade Georgeson at the back of this battle, and Moreira picking up a drive-through for track limits. That is going to be absolutely costly in this super tight battle we've had in the top 5, and now after running wide just on a few too many occasions, has picked up a drive-through for track limits.
I did say in the beginning that track limits would haunt them. I said it would haunt the Open. I didn't think it would be haunted enough to do it in a rookie series where you only have 20 minutes to do it. That's insane. And he's not even taking his drive-through. He's gonna fight Porkchop for this. Like, this is insane as he goes wide again with Porkchop. This battle just doesn't seem to end. The battles just keep going and going. Santiago's gonna fight Moreira, and then you got Jorgensen behind doing his bait. We're halfway into this race. Are you kidding me? This is insane. As Moreira goes wide, that allows Santiago and Jorgensen to at least fight him out for it. So far, I think Santiago's got it, and Jorgensen might have the opportunity. He'll gain the position regardless, the fact that he'll have to do the drive-through. But my goodness, it was just wall-to-wall action. As long as Matthew has filled enough fuel in his car compared to what he did in race 1 last time, he should have this position. But so far, from what we've seen, nothing is for certain here in this race.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. And in just half of the race, Vicente Moreira was picking up that drive-through penalty, and there's still half of the race to go. And we have seen plenty of drivers run wide. Maybe it's completely unintentional to avoid contact in front, but nonetheless, the game will still award those penalties, and you have to be very cautious not to pick up that drive-through, as it is even more costly as you have to drive through the pit lane at a slow, crawling pit limiter pace, just waiting and watching all of your opponents go by. The fortunate thing around the Hungaroring is the pit lane isn't too long, so it won't cost him as much as it could on other tracks, but nonetheless the grid is pretty tight all the way down to Ryan Eason in the back. All 21 cars are still running, so this might be a very costly drive-through penalty for Vicente Moreira, who is currently running in 8th and now dives into the pits to serve that drive-through penalty. At the front, though, Christoph Schenk has run away a little bit, has about 4 seconds to Emmanuel Ramirez, who does have the fastest lap of the race, set it on his last lap of 1:53.820 for the driver of the Costa Rica racing team. Still running along just fine in second in that portion, but just doesn't quite have the pace to match the Aston out in front. The 69 of Schenka has completely run away and is now managing that gap really well, as is Ramirez to Sugg, who has about 5 seconds to the driver in third place, who himself has about 5 seconds to the tight battles going on behind him for 5th and 4th place between Matt Hugh and Shane Sullivan, who now has the Camaro for company, and Porkchop getting really slidey, but still holds position ahead of the BMW in the background of the shot here. 4-car battle from 4th to 7th place, with lots of other battles going on track. Apologies to those we are not able to get to with so much action going on here in the top 10. It's just so hard to keep up with it all, Tyler.
I actually can't believe, I actually almost passed out. That was insane. There was just, and again, to just give the rookies more round of applause, that was the fact that no one's in the pits, the fact that no one hit the wall, the fact that there was only contact that resulted in a slide, but you were still able to race, is just absolutely mind-boggling. And even if you look behind these other, it's now we're gonna have another 4-way battle again as we throw it onto the, what was that by Matthew? A dive up the inside, it seems, against Sullivan. Sullivan, do not lose to an Alpine, man. That car is like divided to your size. But Matthew in that Camaro is going to do his best to run away. The Alpine of Dr. Porkchop is in the slipstream of the BMW, but the straight line speed is insane. Look at that BMW pull away, and look at that BMW behind him, pulling on the Alpine to do his best, but so far it looks like all things are going to stay the same. Wait a minute, no it's not. Porkchop's going to have the outside line. The BMW of De Santiago is behind him, and he is going to go try in the inside. He's going to get blocked by Sullivan. That's going to allow Porkchop to go around the outside, maybe, on both of them, but nope, it all will all end out in the same way, as Porkchop kind of gives Santiago a little bit of the cold shoulder as they're going to go into the depths of turn 5. Santiago's going to take the inside, Porkchop's going to take the outside, and they give just enough space for Porkchop to keep going round the outside. This action is non-stop relentless.
Yeah, 100%. A real battle of David and Goliath here. The BMWs just have immense top speed compared to the Alpine, but the tiny little fighter is so nimble through these corners. It's able to keep up through all the braking zone, is able to just completely send it just a few meters later than the BMW can, and that's how Dr. Porkchop is keeping this Alpine in fighting contention, almost in a top 5 position, running wide though on the exit, tapping the BMW. They're going to go side by side into turn 13. The Alpine super strong on the brakes, going to send it around the outside, keeps it within the track, and now the two BMWs are together, and no, there's contact. Porkchop gets turned around, and he is unfortunately stranded in the middle of the corner, pulls the Alpine into the grass inside of the apex, and is going to keep that car rolling, but unfortunately for the Doctor, going to lose out on a number of places. I believe now is going to be in 10th place. This is the battle with Perez and the 707 of Wade Georgeson. Just slots into 11th, actually behind Warden in the 22 Porsche, and now the Porkchop is really under pressure from a lot of cars behind with that straight line speed disadvantage. A little bit of a tap to Warden in front, and that might now lose Warden a few places as the Porsche's forced to run wide at turn 1.
It's just an absolute. The Doctor showing the Warden, this may be your prison, but I still run the show here. As the Warden's actually going to come back at the Doctor here, and they're going to go side by side. And so far, it looks like in turn 4, the Doctor will beat out the Warden there. But Gorgonson behind is going to look to maybe see if he can stick his nose in this. But he will elect to just wait behind as we have a 5-car battle from 10th to 15th. And it is an absolute. This track is just providing mayhem. That was insane. Now, will we have a little... There's 3 minutes left to go in this race. All positions are up for grabs here. Now, mind you, the top 3 have kind of run away from this race because of that. But all positions here are to play for 4th and downwards. So, with 3 minutes left to go, it is literally anybody's race.
Yeah, 100%. Just a small little mistake from Georgeson at the beginning of this Sector 2 complex really put him out of position for the rest of it, and now we see him drop back more than a second to that car in front to the car in front, and it has turned into two separate three-way battles as the Mercedes is going to have a look down the inside. That was Mark Sagan who started from the pit lane in the 77 Mercedes up into 13th place as the Porsche behind of Martino runs wide at turn 13, isn't quite able to keep up with these two to fight it out for 12th and 13th on the grid. Just a few laps to go now. Wade Georgeson getting a little bit wiggly on the exit. We're going to see just how big of an advantage that might give the Mercedes down the back straight, or down the main straight that is, but it doesn't look like it is quite close enough between them for Georgeson to be really under pressure from the car behind.
Open drivers, good luck. You have some battles to top, as Warden's gonna just slide all the way to the outside. Thankfully, Jorgensen and Sagan are not close enough to capitalize on that little bit of the slide. And Porkchop in the Alpine, especially through sectors 2 and 3, is gonna do his best to try and get away from this. Matt Hugh is going to have to defend from Santiago, at least from what I can see from the timing charts. But so far, it doesn't look like he's in a close enough position yet. And all these drivers will have one more lap to go as Sagan desperately looks to get past the McLaren here. And the McLaren's getting all squirrely. It's not going to be enough for Sagan, though, to find that inside line. He's going to have to wait a little bit more. He's got to hope that that 707 McLaren gets a little bit more twitchy, as the McLaren's not giving any space to this Mercedes. He's saying, if you want to pass me, you got to do it the hard way. And so far, the overspeed will do that. The overspeed will give the helping hand to the Mercedes, as he is going to get by the McLaren of Jorgensen. Sagan now into 12th place, despite starting from the pit lane.
Yeah, really good move there, just capitalizing on the mistake of the McLaren, running a little bit wide, and now pulling a little bit of a gap to Georgeson, as we heard the race director call that it is in fact the final lap of the race, with the 69 in the lead with 8.4 seconds to Ramirez in second place, who has Sugg close behind, 2.5 seconds, but not quite close enough yet. The closest battle so far is this top 5 battle between Hugh and Santiago for 4th and 5th place, between the 53 Camaro and the 777 BMW. Been battling it out all race. Matt Hugh moving up a bunch of places from the start. I believe started in 14th or 15th and is now all the way up into the top 5 with a fantastic start in race 1. But De Santiago is going to try to change the narrative of that and take 4th place away.
As long as he has fuel, he can keep this. As long as he has fuel, please, for the love of God, don't run out of fuel. If you run out of fuel again, I'm sorry, I'm crying. I will cry with laughter so much that the United States of America, all the way down to Florida, will hear me. But right now, we have Santiago chasing Matt Hugh. Matt Hugh looking for redemption. He ran out of fuel in Imola last week. Santiago is going to take a little bit of a shorter line, try and get that overspeed rundown. Matthew parking that Camaro in the middle of the track, not giving Santiago any room. However, Santiago's gonna go round the outside as the leader has finished the race. Shanke will take first, Ramirez will take second, Sugg will take third. Who is going to take fourth? Is it going to be It's going to be Matthew or Santiago? So far, it looks like, because of how close the finish line is, Matthew will take 4th place, and Santiago will have to settle for 5th, the difference being less than 0.2.
Yeah, absolutely epic stuff at the end there between the two, battling it out for the whole race long. Like you said, De Santiago finishing 5th, Sullivan 6th, Allenson with a great start, starting from the back of the grid up to 7th place. Gazzoni as well. We got some fans of Gazzoni in the chat, finishing in 8th place. Perez in 9th. Dr. Porkchop, after that unfortunate spin, able to get back into the top 10 in 10th place. Warden finishing in 11th. Sagan, after that fantastic overtake, gets up into 12th. Georgeson in 13th, Georgeson 13th, Martino 14th, Yatanashi stays pretty much where they started in 15th, Cooley 16th, Dutchy in 17th, Saunderson 18th, Roman in 19th, Moreira in 20th, and last but not least, with the pit lane start, was Ryan Eason. And if you thought that was some good action, we have 20 more minutes ahead in race 2. Yeah, absolutely epic. First 10 minutes, last 10 minutes, also pretty epic battles moving all the way up and down the field. What are we looking for in race 2, Tyler?
I don't know if they can top that. I actually genuinely don't know if they can top that. That was insane. Like, that was absolutely mental. I honestly don't even want to. I don't want to even make a prediction. I'm gonna save my predictions for the Open, and specifically for who was that? Who said not to mention their name? Octane. What car are you driving? I want to know. I want to make a prediction on you. Yeah, that was really impressive. Right? Porsche number 22 comeback. Maybe he's in 8th place. So he definitely could get himself into a podium position if the other drivers allow it. But that was insane racing. That was actually nuts. I can't wait to look back on that and just listen to the chaos, because that's all that was. But it was clean chaos. That is what was most important, Kuja.
Oh, 100%. 5-car battles all the way up and down the grid for the majority of that 20-minute race. Just really the cars just... One seems to have an advantage in one sector over the other. We saw the BMWs absolutely ganging up on the Alpine in the straights. One in front, pulling away, one behind, applying the pressure from behind, but the Alpine of Porkchop able to keep that nimble little car agile through the corners, gets it super late on the braking, and stays right on the tail of the two BMWs to be able to finish as high as he did. Unfortunately, did pick up a little bit of contact and spun around, but still, nonetheless, that Alpine managing as high of a position as it did through the majority of the race is absolutely impressive compared to that top speed of the BMWs.
Yeah, that was not. I do not envy that position that Porkchop was in, having two BMWs, one in the front, one in the back, knowing that one's gonna pull in and knowing that one's gonna pull away is just the most disheartening feeling I could ever imagine. Just watching the car up in front go away and the car pulling. Ishinki and the rookies is just saying that's OP. The Aston is so OP. I would honestly, in the right hands, it is. Yes, I would agree. I would agree, but like that was the racing in race 1 was just insane. Now, what happened last time in Imola is everyone got confident in race 2 and created a massive incident. Hopefully we won't have that. Hopefully we'll just have a continuation from what race 1 is. But anything can happen here in the rookies.
Yeah, of course, anything can happen. Like you said last week, a bit more of a chaotic start to race 2 than race 1. But hopefully the drivers tonight will hopefully keep that momentum going that they started in with race 1. And thanks to Jake Wells for being on the podium. Let's go, rookies, indeed. Thank you for all the support from everybody watching, everybody following along, everybody subscribing as well. And Jake Wells been subscribing for a long time, 26 months. Thank you, Jake Wells. Really appreciate the support, my friend. And hope to see you on the grid in a few of the upcoming events.
26 months? My God, that's 2 years and 2 months. That's an insane amount of time to be subscribed to one channel. And Bigley wants us to hydrate. I guess I'm finishing the rest of this drink now.
Yep, I will finish my tea as well as the rookies start the formation lap for race 2. Just getting rolling. Now we've got the same the same grid that we had from race 1. So everybody still in the same spots. A few drivers unfortunately disconnecting, it looks like, as now we only have 19 drivers on the grid. But those who started from the pit lane last time do not have that disadvantage this time and will be able to start from the rolling start on the grid.
I'm trying to figure out who's disconnected. Nope, Matthew's in. He hasn't made the same mistake that he compared to last time. trying to figure out who we lost. Maybe it'll tell us in the standings after race 2 who we lost, but like, I'll see if I can figure out who we lost. Because that seems odd. It's always a second race that happens. So we will keep an eye on that, but soon they're just going through Sector 2 now, in the middle of Sector 2, so they'll have a little bit of time to get those a fresh set of tires warm, fresh set of buttons, all on the wheel. Everything's going to be good to go. Soon they will be in super formation, and soon they will start race number 2. We'll have 19 drivers now on the grid, but I'm hoping we'll have the same amount of action as we did in race 1.
Yeah, and hopefully those that were unfortunately disconnected are able to rejoin and at least start the race somewhere in the back. We need Porkchop and Eason to make a good race. Indeed, I agree. And hopefully we will see just that as they cross Sector 3. 2 corners to go, starting to line up double file. Hopefully all the tires, all the brakes are warmed up, getting ready for the start of the next 20-minute race we have ahead of us in the Rookies Championship. It is the spring season. This race, well, I guess this is week 2, race 4. Race 2 around the Hungaroring. 20 minutes of fantastic action earlier. And yeah, rookies don't think some are rookies. Yeah, I agree. Just they have to be ranked as a rookie in SimGrid, but that doesn't mean that they are rookies by experience, and could have plenty of experience in other sim racing games as they round the final corner and approach the start-finish straight for the green flag to go. And we have the green flag waving. Sug, unfortunately, yet again at a bit of a disadvantage. They're 3 wide in the background. No 4 wide action this time around, as Ramirez is going to send a look down the inside, and Ramirez is going to move up into first place. Fantastic move from Ramirez. Moves up into first place, gets it late on the brakes, sends it on the inside of Shinka, who is now at a bit of a disadvantage with Sug trying to push on and on. Fantastic start from Giazzoni, moving up from 8th place into 4th place into the orange McLaren we're seeing in the background there. And a really good getaway once again from race 2. We do have Sullivan and Warden joining us. I believe those were the 2 drivers that disconnected, the 617 and the 22 in the background, now picking up a drive-through for speeding in the pit lane was Warden. But that was a fantastic move into turn 1 by Ramirez for the race lead.
That was a move from downtown. That could have ended horrendously, but it hasn't. It's worked out so well for Ramirez, and now he just has to go. He just has to leave, as we do have a yellow flag for the 621 and the 111 of Duchy and Martino. I do believe we've had a little bit of contact there, as I do believe that is Mirko Yantanashi doing their best to try and stay ahead of both of these Aston Martin drivers. Now let's see what happens here. One's going to be inside, and oh, that could have been disastrous, and that was disastrous for the 111 and the 621. That is not a dive you would want to do in lap 1, and it's cost him out. He's thankfully the worse for wear, but that could have easily had ruined someone else's race. And Sug is now Sug has not had the best few races so far, but the 147 McLaren has had an absolute wondrous start and is finding themselves P4.
Yeah, starting from 8th on the grid was the 147, moving up 4 places from the start. Was pretty much up those 4 places before the first three corners were even up. I was kind of surprised to see that orange car in the background. I was looking for a McLaren in the standings, and the next one I saw was P8, but it was running in 4th. And so yeah, absolutely brilliant start from the McLaren driver. Now trying to apply as much pressure to Sug as possible, with Ramirez taking the race lead in turn 1 away from Christoph Schinke, and now Sug able to maintain 3rd place after getting a better start than in race 1.
Matthew's lost some places. He hasn't had the success that he's had from race 1. He's actually starting to lose out a few places from race 2. Juan Perez is doing his best to try and get Jorgensen, the other McLaren that is up ahead, and they have Morea for company in the 84. And so far, it seems We haven't had we have had some lap 1 contact. You saw it there, but Eric killed it on commentary last night. Oh, Eric's the best. I mean, he's my boss, so I'm not going to say anything mean about him, but like, he is one of the more better commentators we have, and that is the drive-through cleared for the number 22, Juan Perez. Is he going to try and move here on Jorgensen? So far, it looks like Jorgensen's safe for now. He's going to try and get up to the 84. The 84 got a drive-through with 10 minutes into the last race. They're hoping to avoid that same fate here today.
Yeah, ending up really on the back foot after that drive-through, finishing near the bottom of the grid. And yeah, like you said, hopefully able to avoid that same fate on this go-around, as that is Saunderson, Perez, and Cooley all battling it out for position in the background there. We'll ride on board with the Go For It All Racing number 18 Porsche, having a look down the inside, but not a lot of space, but the space is opened up, and that is a fantastic move from Saunderson, able to send it absolutely late. Perez just left that door just a little bit cracked, and no invitation needed for Saunderson to barge on through, and takes 9th place away. Perez unfortunately dropping another place to Cooley as well. And now Cooley and Saunderson in 9th and 10th, gonna try to continue to battle this one out.
Saunderson wasn't taking no for an answer there. My goodness. There's a little bit of a slip and slide there by a few of the cars, but they managed to maintain their control. Yeah, Saunderson was not taking no for an answer there on Juan Perez. Juan Perez defended the inside, and Sanderson said, you know what? I'm just gonna somehow go more inside. That was insane. Like, I wish that we had the helicopter cam. I want to know how much space there was left there.
Yeah, probably really not all that much space, but the space was left by Perez for Saunderson to take that opportunity, and take it he did. Maybe a bit of a steward's inquiry, and we will just have to wait and see if anything results from that. Meanwhile, at the top, Sugg, Shinka, and Ramirez still pretty close, within 2 seconds of each other in the top 3, pulling a bit away from De Santiago in 4th place, with Gizzoni in 5th for company. The 777 able to get through the McLaren to get into 4th, and there we've got Dr. Porkchop pulling into the background in 6th place into the Alpine, with Moreira, Georgeson, Saunderson, and Cooley rounding out our top 10.
We haven't had a 5-car battle yet, but all the top 10 seems to be pretty close. There's no gap bigger than 2 seconds. I mean, Santiago was about 2 seconds behind, but so far the gaps haven't been all that bad. Allison maybe might get the run here onto Perez. It was a little bit of awkwardness coming out of turn 1, but Allison's gonna have to go round the outside of Perez here to get the opportunity where the outside does become the inside, but just not that opportunity yet, and Perez is going to hold on to that place. Now, mind you, there's still 4 cars in this battle from Saunderson, Cooley, Perez, and Allison. Perez is going to go try maybe up the inside of Saunderson, but so far no luck. That might actually hurt his chances against Allison here, but so far the inside will still stay the inside. But so far, everything seems to be holding serve for right now. No one's making a move just yet, as that is a spin by, I believe that was Cooley, maybe. Nope, that was Saunderson. The Go For It Racing touches the grass on the exit, tries to keep it, tries to save it, and oh snap goes his wheel as the Go For It Racing car slowly falls down the order.
Yeah, not a lot of room there on the track between the other drivers for Saunderson to slip through. After that fantastic move into turn 1, just dips a wheel onto the grass, and that sends the rear engine Porsche spinning in the wrong direction, and unfortunately touching the wall as well with the front, but it didn't look like there was too much damage there, and will hopefully able to keep the race rolling. But now down in 18th, but still 12 minutes to recover and get as high up the grid as they possibly can.
Sugg, currently as it stands right now, still sitting 3rd. Now, mind you, in race 1, by this point, we had already decided who was going to be the top 3. by that time. The gaps between them were already pretty insane. Now this time the gaps are all still pretty close, up to about 7th. 7th is kind of where it starts to drop off. Morea's about 1.6 behind. Gorgonson's about 2.2. So, and even now Santiago is still sitting back as Mirko Yantanashi, who had a qualifying ban today, unfortunately in the back, doing their best to try and gain positions as they go. Next up for them is Sagan in the 77 Mercedes. The pace of Yantanashi was very evident last week, double podium sitter. So far the pace just not seemingly held just yet in the Hungaroring. Gonna do their best to try and keep places, but with 11 minutes to go, the time is sadly running out. What's kind of interesting about rookies is you kind of need to have that good start. You need to have that, like, moment where you spring through a couple times. Oh, Ramirez, can he save it? Oh, but this has opened the door for Shinke to do his best, and Sug's gonna go up the inside as well. A little bit of snaps from Ramirez. He's managed to save it and keep it out of the dirt, keep it out of the grass of the wall. But man, has this opened the door. He was about 1 second up as we might get. He's doing everything to try and break that toe, get out of it. Not give Schenk the 69 Aston that toe. He might have done just enough to save it, but there's contact from 69, but he's not. He hasn't pit him. He's given him the space. He's gonna go round the outside, and is it gonna hold? Ramirez defends the inside like his life depends on it. That's gonna allow Sug maybe the opportunity here to get it going. Get second place back. He's lost it. This has also allowed Santiago to seemingly stick his nose in a position that he didn't have before. This is absolutely nuts. What a save by Ramirez, but it might cost him the win here.
Yeah, all started off with a little innocent mistake, just dipping a wheel into the grass, having to keep or maintain the slide and keep it from spinning around. Lost all of the advantage he had, and now this seeming like, yeah, pretty much all was separated by about 1 second, now has turned into a 4-car battle from Ramirez to Santiago in 4th place with Gizzoni and Porkchop not too far behind. We can see that orange McLaren just creeping into the back of shot, but Ramirez able to maintain first place after that mistake at the exit of this corner coming up right here. And yeah, we just tuned in at just the wrong time, apparently, for us to be able to catch that. And like you said, he was just able to maintain that super well, unlike the spin we saw earlier from Saunderson, unfortunately. But that is how you finish at the top. First, you have to finish. And Ramirez is providing a great example of that, and yet again down that main straight, doesn't want to give any advantage to his competitors behind, cutting to the inside, breaking any sort of slipstream away from the Aston, and then defending the inside line as best as possible. But Schenke is going to try the switchback, and the Aston has really impressive straight line speed down the hill into the braking zone of turn 2. The Porsche goes a little bit deep. The Aston's going to sweep to the inside, but the Porsche covers it off really well, and Sug has dropped back from this battle a little bit and has De Santiago for company now.
This is just absolutely maddening. If he can keep this win, I'd argue he might have a Save of the Year nominee. If there is a save or a pass that you've seen, you can clip it and put it into our Discord for a Save of the Year or Pass of the Year nomination. And I might honestly throw my hat for Ramirez in there for the Save of the Year if he can hold on to this race win. But yes, as you said, Sug has dropped back. Oh! Santiago's actually gotten past Sug! What happened there? How did he get by? Was it in the hairpin? So as you can ride on, as we look at the replay, Santiago goes, oh my gosh, he shoves it up the inside. There was a little bit of contact, but not enough that I feel like that mattered, as Santiago just steals the inside away from Sug, as Sug's podium hopes drop. What a move by Santiago.
Yeah, like that move from turn 1 we saw at Saunderson, just had that door just slightly cracked open and no invitation needed. Santiago barrels the car right into the inside and takes it before the chicane and able to get the BMW into 3rd place. Sug now
There's
has...
a 3-way battle behind.
Oh, there is? Let's tune in.
Yeah.
Pork Chop, Gizzoni, and Moreira.
Moreira's right on the... This is going to be what happened again. Moreira's going to shove it up the inside, given the flashing lights of the warning. Pork Chop is going to go what? What happened there? I guess, was that a warning to like, hey, I'm about to miss my braking zone, you might want to go wide? What was that?
Yeah, that was a little bit wide from the Alpine. Not quite sure. Maybe just had a bit of a panic moment. Just saw the car on the inside sending it and didn't want to take any risks or chances. But that is going to give Moreira 6th place as Pork Chop falls back now. And the battle for the lead is going to pick up as Shinka has caught right up to the tail of Ramirez, with De Santiago pretty close for company now as they approach the chicane at the top of the hill at the Hungaroring, a really tight and technical part of the track coming up. You really want to send, or you really want your line to be perfectly sent from one corner to the next, as running a little bit in wide could put you at a disadvantage for the next 3 or 4 corners to come. So really important to get the line just right to maximize the lap time, and Ramirez is doing just that to pull away from Shinka in Sector 2 as the 53 of... I'm not sure who 53, that's Matt Hugh, unfortunately, with a yellow flag at the top of the hill and is still a little bit stranded there. Hopefully he's able to keep that Camaro rolling, but is going to drop quite a few places from that incident. And a drive-through! Sagan gets a drive-through penalty from 16th place, the number 77, working their way up through the pit lane in race 1. Now in 16th place, has to come in and serve a drive-through penalty. Meanwhile, though, at the front, Christoph Schinke getting very close to the bumper of the Porsche on the main straight, has to pull out to the outside. The Porsche runs deep, though, and then is this the position change? This is the lead change. Schinke takes it away from the Porsche as Ramirez runs wide, isn't able to slow the Porsche enough, doesn't quite keep the grip, and gives the race lead to the race winner from race 1, Christoph Schinke in the 69 Aston Martin. Good move there from Christoph.
Now Ramirez, though, is still in trouble. There's still 2 other cars behind him. He's lost the race win, mind you. Unless the 69 has a mistake, then it's still well within play right now. But you got to worry about just keeping this podium. You've had 1 mistake that has lost you the race lead. Now you have 2 drivers of Santiago and Sug who are less than a second behind you combined. As much as, yes, you want the race win, you got to defend the podium here. And I do believe Matthew and Easton did have come into contact probably near the chicane. If I had to take a gander, I saw them really close together, the 2 Camaros, and I guess Matthew has gotten the business end of that deal. And yeah, I agree with Confer Caster. I think the Porsche just over-defended that one, and now he's got now the BMW and a Porsche sandwich that I do believe the BMW can win out on in this instance.
Nels, thank you for following along. Hope you're enjoying this fantastic battle we have going on for the top position and all the podium places in race 2 of the GT4 Rookies Series at the Hungaroring this week for 2 20-minute races already. Race 1 in the bag, race 2 underway with just under 3 minutes to go, about 2 laps left for anyone to do anything about their current positions.
It's gonna be madness. Now that little Alpine is in danger from Ghiazzoni in the 147 McLaren. The McLaren has insane top speed. However, the Alpine is nimble as can be in the corners. Sagan now having to take their drive-through penalty, and that's going to be a dive up the inside by Ghiazzoni, not giving Pork Chop a lot of room. However, that Alpine is nimble in the corners, as we said, and that Alpine is going to just squeeze on by and keep the position despite the attempted overtake from Ghiazzoni there into turn 4. What masterclass defending by the Dr. Porkchop there, as that is now the 77 drive-through cleared, and Santiago, as you can see from the timing charts, is right on the back of Ramirez. Ramirez slowly losing time away from the 69 Aston Martin, so his chances of a race win are gone. But man, does that BMW really want P2 there, as we keep on board so far with Ghiazzoni, as we now flip right back, as if almost the commentators are listening to me. The overspeed from this BMW is nuts. Santiago is going to do his best. He's going to have to go around the outside. He's going to actually try the switchback, defended well by Ramirez there. Camaro 100% got hit from the side into a wall, says Chakio. So hopefully that can stay into the play. Oh, what do we have here, folks? This might be the opportunity. This will be the final lap of this race. If Santiago wants that P2, if Sug wants to get onto the podium, this is the place to do it. There's not many overtaking spots here at Hungaroring. If you're going to send it, it has to be turn 1 and then turn 2. There's not many places, as Santiago is going to have to go round the outside. What is the Porsche going to do? Is he going to slip out wide? Santiago is going to go for the switchback. The rundown is key in towards turn 3. What is going to happen here? Santiago looks like he is going to have to go round the outside. Ramirez defends the inside. Sug's going to take the inside. Now the roles will reverse. The inside becomes the outside. Santiago still holds it. Oh, he's got a tank slapper, and he saved it! What a save! Sug, unfortunately, has no room to go and hits the back of Santiago with the tank slapper. But what a save to keep the podium! Oh!
Yeah, just bouncing really heavily over those curbs. Bouncing away was the BMW, but able to save it at the... And unfortunately a bit of a disadvantage for the Porsche of Sug, not having any room to go with that huge overspeed. And now, after that small little mistake, getting a little bumpy at the chicane, but still right on the tail of Ramirez for second place. Shinka 2.6 seconds clear of this battle. How is it gonna end? Who's gonna finish second? Who is gonna finish third between Ramirez and De Santiago? Porsche versus BMW. We've seen Ramirez run a little bit wide and have an absolutely epic save out of turn 12 into 13, but the BMW not having that advantage this time around, as Ramirez keeps it between the white lines, keeps the Porsche completely under control. Shinka across the line to finish P1 in race 2. Ramirez will take second. De Santiago will finish on the podium in third, with Sug in fourth, having the fastest lap of the race as well. Moreira, good result after the drive-through in race 1 to finish in 5th. Porkchop likewise in 6th. Ghiazzoni moving up into 7th place. Allenson with 2 really good results, starting from near the back of the grid in 8th. Georgeson 9th. Yatanashi with a really good result, moving up into the top 10. Eason, Perez, Martino, Roman, Cooley, then Sullivan. Saunderson next to cross the line in 16th place, followed not too far behind by the bruised and beaten Aston Martin of Rally Duchy in 17th place. Matt Hugh, after that, really heavy contact, we can see the hood picked up completely off of the front bumper, but still rolling and finishing the race in 18th place. Sagan, after that drive-through, will finish 19th, with Warden and Ortega Pelaez finishing out in 19th and 20th on the grid today in race 2.
I still think race 1 tops it, at least in terms of the battles that we had. But race 2 had a battle for the lead up until the final bell, where it was just an unfortunate happens for Ramirez. He went wide, but both Ramirez and Santiago had beautiful saves, and Yatanashi does indeed crack the top 10 with that pace. Well done to the rookies indeed. I agree with Conford Caster. Let's see if the rookies want to do some interviews.
yeah, let's have a look in the Discord. Our top 3 from race 1 and our top 3 from race 2 are welcome to join us in the green room, and we will pull you guys in to our main broadcast and have a chat, talk about how your guys' race went, and we will go from there. So yeah, please do go ahead and join us, and we will pull you guys right in. And of course, the GT4 Rookie Series on Mondays has a prize giveaway from Next Level Racing. We've got a haptic gaming pad for a random winner who finishes 7 out of the 8 races, 7 out of the 8 weeks we have lined up of racing in the GT4 Rookie Series. So a winner will be drawn at random for that Next Level Racing haptic gaming pad. And yeah, make sure you sign up and try to compete in all of the races we have available for that prize giveaway.
All right, I'm going to move. Who do we want to bring? We can bring Shink, the winner from race 2, in.
And race 1.
Oh, he did win both. I completely didn't even notice that. Congratulations, Christoph. Good job with win race 1 and 2. 2, you had to work for it a little bit more, didn't you? You can unmute your mic whenever you're ready, sir. Maybe he's not ready yet. We're gonna see if Santiago's ready though. Now, see if he's ready.
Pull in Brian and see if he's ready.
Brian, are you ready? Oh, never mind. We're gonna have the Christoph now that he's ready. Christoph, congratulations on both race wins. Race 1, you didn't have to work as hard, but race 2, that was a little bit hectic. Walk us through race 2 there.
Race 2 was, Emmanuel, I think he learned his lesson from race 1 and just sent it into turn 1. It was safe, it was fair. I didn't quite expect it, but and then he defended hard, and Hungary is not an easy track to overtake. So it took me a while, but I noticed that his tires were getting down, and he was getting a little bit sloppy. So I just bided my time and then made it stick in the end, fortunately.
Now, you got a front row seat to that save he made in, I think, turn 12 or turn 13. Did you at that moment think, I can finally get him, I can get this race win again? Or was there still some doubt that you could even get past him, because the way he was defending was pretty good?
He defended pretty good a couple of times. I'm not quite sure, I have to watch the replay. I think I tapped him once because he just parked it on the apex and I didn't expect it. But he did a great job, and I was like, it was, like you said, it was 50-50 because he had so many situations where I'm like, oh, he made a mistake, I'm gonna get him now. And then for some reason that Porsche the acceleration, he just kept that gap and kept the gap, and so I was hoping, but fortunately it stuck.
Were you worried about the 2 drivers behind you, Sug and the Porsche and then the BMW of Santiago? Were you worried about them behind you?
For a little bit. Actually, one of them rear-ended me. I ended up with a second of damage. I'm not sure which one it was. But from the first race, I kind of had in the back of my mind was like, okay, the Porsches they're gonna fade. They're gonna fade, so don't worry about it. As long as they don't do anything stupid, you'll be fine.
All right, well, Kusha, if there's anything you want to say to Christoph, otherwise that was a fantastic race. Congratulations on winning both.
Thank you so much.
Just again, congratulations for the win again from dominating performance continuing from last week. So nice to talk to you again, and hopefully we'll see you up here again next week.
I would hope so, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem at all. And now let's try and sneak in a word from our podium finisher in race 2, Brian De Santiago. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm gonna be honest, tired, happy, excited, and filled with adrenaline. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, 100%. Race 1, there were absolutely so many battles going on. You were involved in pretty much everywhere up and down the grid. Talk us through what it's like battling cars all around you, even more than one or two of them.
I'm gonna be honest, I really don't do a lot of league races like these, let alone have an entire pack like this being all compacted without any incident. I'm gonna be honest, it has been like the best racing I've ever seen, the most funnest race I've ever had. And like honestly, it just kept me on edge. It just kept me on edge, just trying to battle everybody out, defend, attack, and pretty much not trying to slide the car at all.
Yeah, it was really good overtakes from you, especially in that second race, moving your way up all the way up to the podium. And yeah, congrats on finishing on the podium as well. Was this your first week racing with us? Were you here last week?
I was spectating last week, but this is officially my first race.
Awesome.
Right now with you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for joining, and yeah, happy to have you on the grid, and looking forward to more on-track battles from you next week, Brian. And are we saying that right? Is it Brian de Santiago?
Yes, that's completely right. Yes.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I want to get. How do you need a change of racing suit after you hit the curb in the second?
Frankly, yes. Very much yes. I sadly don't remember the racer who was right behind me. I believe he straightened me out. Damn shame he lost that position to that, but oh my god, I really do need to change the suit in that one.
Yeah, there was almost a second one at the chicane also.
Yes. Yes. Oh.
Sorry, Tyler, go ahead.
It was treacherous. I
can only just imagine you're battling. It was Sug, actually. It was Sug. You're battling him, and then all of a sudden you just hit the BMW bounce. I'm like, oh, he's gonna die. And then you just save it, and Sug, because he's so close behind you, has nowhere to go and just taps the back of you. Thankfully, he continued on, and you continued on. But oh my goodness, dude, you can't do that. You can't do that.
I try not to. Honestly, that even caught me by surprise. I mean, I'm even more surprised I even caught myself with that one. Honestly.
Yeah, that was an absolutely fantastic save. Yeah, like you said, a little bit unfortunate that Sug had nowhere to go, but did kind of straighten you back out to finish on the podium. And yeah, once again, thanks for joining us. Congrats on finishing on the podium in your first week with Trackalicious. Hopefully we'll see you back for many more races, especially next week. And yeah, congrats once again. And we're going to get rolling into the Open Series.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a great day. And I'm for sure going to be here next week.
Happy to hear that, Brian. Thanks again for joining us. Thank you, Tyler, for leading our interviews this week. And let's get to the action we have going on. We've got qualifying of the Open Series starting up right away. Hopefully this will work. Let's see if we've got a black screen or not. We do not. We are rolling for the Open Series in the Trackalicious spring season. This is round 2 at the Hungaroring, same location as before. And now we've got our top level drivers competing in the GT4 series. We've got the likes of Alex Hansen, Luke Nelson, and plenty of others. Lots of rookies as well joining us from the race before. Their number plates are still the same as all of the other drivers. And yeah, big grid today. It looks like about 26 cars actually on the grid today, Tyler, for the open race.
Gotta love it. The rookies is just an appetizer for the entree that is the GT4 Open Championship. Now, things are different from the rookies as they are in the Open, but that's how it's going to be. In qualifying, as you can see, rookies, it's evens and odds. That way everyone has some time. In qualifying here in the Open, it is a free-for-all. You got to do your best to leave a gap up in front, obviously, and do your best not to try and invalidate anyone's lap. But it is just a free-for-all here, and also it is going to be a 50-minute race. one single 50-minute race and not two 20s. It'll end a mandatory pit stop. We might now, Hungaroring, with it being as close as it is, will definitely see a lot of race action throughout these 50 minutes, but now you add pit stop strategy into this. Tires aren't optional, but you must take fuel. So it is going to be pretty much anyone's game. And Kuja, I dare you to try and pronounce the car 666's name, because I will not be able to.
I believe that's good friend Ilpo Ruotsalainen.
Rustalainen it is then.
Hopefully, and yeah, of course, if we're wrong, please do mention it in the chat, in the Discord, and we will try to get everything as correct as possible. We don't want anybody feeling left out just because we don't know how to read.
I mean, with Zulsdorf, it's a little bit difficult, but I'm slowly getting the hang of it. And Pork Chop says, not in it to win it, I'm in it for that kind of racing. Honestly, you had pace. Like, you struggled in the straights, yeah, but you had pace in the corners. That was insane. Like, you were just nibbling in and out of cars 3 times your size. And Shadow Nemesis, let's go Neil Kerbal. I can second that notion. But let's go Neil Kerbal and my good friend, obviously, car number 32, Mitch Nairati. I'm hoping he will have a good race. This is Hungaroring. We both know this circuit very well. We race on it a lot, and Neil is going to set the provisional pole lap time so far to beat of a 1:52.6. But the man, the myth, the legend himself, Ricardo Rivera, has yet to set a lap time yet. So we will see how that goes. Ramon Torres sits 3/10 back as the lap times begin to fall. As Rustalainen goes within a tenth of Neil Kerbal so far, that lap time is holding for Neil Kerbal as I send it back to Kuja.
Yeah, still plenty of drivers yet to complete times. We're just going to have to wait and see what sort of happens. Like we saw in the rookies, a few drive-through penalties, so track limits certainly come into play, and especially on a one-lap shootout in qualifying, you want to maximize your time and push those limits right to the edge. Neil Kerbal now in second place with Rivera setting a lap time of a 1:52.167 to take provisional pole at the moment. The 395 McLaren in provisional second place so far. Jason Provolone in the 82. Aston Martin 6 sits in 6th place so far on the grid, with Nairati in 7th behind, with Yatanashi, Beachley, and Sugg were in the top 10, and plenty of drivers now improving and setting their lap times. And yeah, good top 10, nice and close actually between 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place. A bit of a gap up to Ricardo Rivera, almost half a second away from Neil Kerbal in 2nd place. It looks like the McLaren is going to be the popular choice today in the Open Series.
Yeah, I guess so. There's not. It's kind of a fair bit. You got a few Aston Martins here, but it looks like McLarens and Aston Martins are going to be the favored car of choice as we ride on board now with Austin Doyle, who was 11th, but the car behind him literally usurped him for that position. So he will not be. He won't be 10th for very long. And yes, the cheese man of Provolone, it ain't easy being cheesy. I'm still gonna find a way to meme that as much as I can. But we move on, and I elect the viewers to take a look onto the right side of the screen and look at the beautiful track map. There are how many cars on track right now, Kuja?
26 cars, minus the one in the pit lane.
There are 26. There's 26 cars that are somehow managing fit on this track right now, all in somehow synchronicity to be able to get a lap time through. That is just insane.
Yeah, we can just see the insanity here as Austin Doyle was approaching a car in front, had a good overspeed advantage and good on the Mercedes in front to leave the room and let the Porsche through. And now the 11 of Austin Doyle is going to try to push up as high as the grid as possible. The podium sitter from last time around currently sits in 13th, 1.7 seconds off of the pole position time. The track is optimum from the start, so no disadvantage to those running earlier than later in the session. And yeah, just going to be kind of a bit of a waiting game, just kind of waiting to see who's going to finish where.
Doyle, as you said, yes, did get a podium position at Imola last year, last week. He got P2. It was a genuine P2 too. There was nothing wrong. He just had the pace. Right now, as it stands right now, he's currently 13th in his qualifying position. Now, mind you, there's still 12 minutes to go left in this qualifying. There's plenty of time for that lap to change. Will it change here?
He does.
He's going to pull over.
Yeah, he does improve his time, but the position was not improved. Just needed another 100th of a second, and he would have gotten Estevez for 12th place. And yeah, it is super close all the way up and down the grid. Moriko Yatanashi able to qualify this time. No qualifying ban as we saw them have in the rookies races earlier on. The 53 Aston Martin rolling away 2 corners to go before crossing the line. Currently 1.8 seconds back in 15th place. And yeah, the Aston seemingly really strong around here, as we heard from the rookies winner in the chat saying that the Aston Martin was pretty OP, and one bigly redeeming a hydrate, so make sure to hydrate, Tyler.
No. You can only hydrate so much.
We need it for how much action we've been seeing. Mouths are running dry from talking so much.
I almost passed out. Like, I could agree with that, but like, this is just maddening trying to fit 26 cars here. Now, mind you, pits, getting new tires, taking a break, setting some strategy. Ricardo Rivera still has a very comfortable lead of 4/10. Now, a few drivers can definitely usurp him. Neil Kerbel, Krenotis, Rustalainen. Like, there's still 10 minutes to go in qualifying. There's still plenty of time for these positions to change. Nairati is in an Aston Martin triple deck sandwich. 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15. That is a sandwich of death from Nairati. He is not. That is insane. Someone please clip that. He is in actual not fun times right now.
Yeah, it's the biggest Aston Martin bun of a sandwich I have ever seen. Like you said, 3 in front, 3 behind, and that's a fun place. It's going to be a fun place to start the race if that is indeed how the grid turns out. Neil Kerbel crossing the line to start another flying lap. And near the back, Wade Georgeson. Continuing on from the rookies race earlier, we saw that a beautiful blue and bright purple livery earlier in the 707 McLaren, battling it out in the top 10 for the majority of the race, bringing those skills and action into the open series for the 50-minute race we have ahead, just ticking over the 10-minute mark in qualifying, about halfway through the session, with Ricardo Rivera leading the way with a 1:52.167.
I don't know how I feel about, like, obviously, the more the merrier. I'm always fine. Like, for me, I don't know if it brings an advantage to do the open after the rookies. Like, I know with Eric, he said it would be an advantage because, you know, you've just driven the track. You have that slight bit of advantage. But at the same time, I feel like you do and you don't. Like, obviously, you know the track more. You have an idea on, like, the lines and stuff like that. You have an idea on race. But for the rookies, you've done 220 minutes. You basically equivalently have done a sprint. This is a long haul. So, yes, you have that track acclimation already done for you, but now you've got to do it for a longer stretch and with a pit stop.
A 1:51.9 from Ricardo Rivera as he crosses the line there. Sorry to interrupt you, Tyler.
No, it's all right. Qualifying's done. No one is going to beat that. Not Kerbel, not Krenotis, not the 666. Nobody. If someone beats that, I'll chug the drink I have beside me right now. Like, I will genuinely chug it. But I don't think anybody is going to beat that. No one. I mean it. I'm not even going to commentate this curse. No one is time.
Yeah, it's absolutely blistering time at the front. Ruotsalainen trying their very best, moving up into second place, 4.46 seconds off of the pole position sitter. Still lots of room for improvement if that Camaro wants to get on the top step in qualifying, but a front row start nonetheless is really good around the Hungaroring. If the Camaro can get a good getaway and get that track position, it might be hard for Ricardo Rivera to get any sort of overtakes done, but with a half a second advantage at the front, it's going to be hard for anyone to really close down that gap, like you said.
Sugg, Freeman, Estevez, and Doyle are all separated by less than like half a tenth. Like, that's how close these times are to each other. This is what happens when you have 26 people on the grid. You are going to get times that are so close to one another that it's literally going to come down to the thousandths of a second to determine what place you are in the grid. Like, if Doyle improves by less than a tenth, he moves up into almost 13th, almost 12th, if he can find like a tenth and a half. So like, there's all to play for in qualifying, and obviously with Hungaroring, we've seen how difficult it is to overtake. We've seen overtakes done, but it is a little difficult to pass, especially through sectors 2 and sectors 3. So qualifying is all but important here.
Yeah, 100% agree. And yeah, like you said, just those really kind of two really big overtaking opportunities, unless there is a big car or overspeed advantage from a car running a little bit wide and just having to slow down a little bit and maintain it within the white lines. And we've seen that before, especially in race 1 with that Alpine between the two BMWs, just using the nimbleness through the corners to their advantage to stay as close to the straight line speed killers that the BMWs are. And yeah, like you said, super close between here. If Alex Freeman can even gain 100th of a second, it'll gain him a few places, but he gains even more than that and goes up to 6th place, 8 tenths off of Ricardo Rivera, moving up into the top 10. Good result from the 14 of Alex Freeman.
He split, actually, Potts Weaver and Alex Hansen. He somehow has found himself in that middle gap of time between Hansen and Weaver, so I'll give him credit for that. That was an absolutely blistering lap time. Now, can anybody else get even close to Ricardo Ferreira? But we'll ride on board with Justin Beachley, and part of me does feel for Beachley. In the Beach GT, I actually love that livery. Too bad it's still too cold to go to the beach up here in the great land of Canada. Now, again, I feel bad for Beachley a little bit. He was, again, as you and I finished out the season last season, he was a podium sitter. He was honestly fighting for, but now the strength of the field has increased dramatically. So now he's sitting not in the midfield, but he's sitting in like the upper, like the kind of low upper field. So, but for Beachley, he definitely has that time, that pace that he can get himself into the top 5. He just has to have a little bit of luck with it.
Yeah, 100%. And we've seen the race pace from Beachley be a bit more, let's just say a bit quicker than the qualifying pace is showing, able to move up a few places throughout the 50-minute races that we have had. So he's not necessarily lacking the race pace. It might just be a bit of a qualifying performance thing that's just can't quite put together that one lap pace that he needs to finish up in the top 5 where we've seen him before. And of course, this season there is a prize from Next Level Racing for the championship winner of the GT4 Open Series. It is the haptic gaming pad that goes inside of your chair, provides super cool responses to gaming situations from Next Level Racing. And yeah, so that again could be the reason the grid is a little bit more competitive, a bit more on the line for this season compared to the previous one, with that prize going to the championship winner, who is currently Ricardo Rivera, as we have completed one race and he was the winner of that one race.
A lot of the drivers that I've spoken to think Ricardo Rivera is going to win this championship, bar none, which he definitely does have the pace, at least from the limited race seeing Ricardo Rivera in. This man is an absolute rocket, is an absolute missile. As the professor drifts a little bit wide, I do believe that'll invalidate his lap, which is unfortunate, but he's still got a little bit of time. And just like that, we're already almost done qualifying. There's only less than 2 minutes left to go. You only got like a lap and maybe a little bit left.
Yeah, not too much time to go. Like you said, the 20-minute qualifying session has kind of gone here and there, but Ricardo Rivera still maintaining that near half-second advantage at the top. Really close, though, between the Camaro and the McLaren of Neil Kerbel in third place. 4 McLarens in the top 5. I wonder which car has a stronghold around the Hungaroring, as the lowest placed McLaren is Torres in 8th place.
And all the Aston Martins are in the midfield right now, except for one.
Yeah.
All the Aston Martins are surrounding, and that's going to be it for the professor. Is he just going to let all this field by? He is. Ooh, that's a smart move by the professor. I actually like this call. Look at that gap between the 53 and the 787. There's a massive gap there, and the professor's going to take that gap and just go all the way to the bank with it. And that is actually the best way to get an uninvited lap time. Someone else, I guess, has thought of the same strategy as him, because he looks like he has company back there, it seems.
Yeah, a little bit of company in Sector 2. Eric Cuevas coming up to the line with 1 corner to go. This is the number 33 Aston Martin, currently sitting in 12th place on a bit of a good lap here from Cuevas. We'll see how high up the grid he can go when that lap time comes in. Up into 10th place, about 1 second off of pole position. Good lap from the number 33 Aston Martin, and with less than a minute to go, this will most likely be his last flying attempt, unless he runs a little bit wide like that and invalidates the lap altogether, and that is going to be the qualifying session done for Eric Cuevas.
And you can tell that because he's already off the road. There's a lot of drivers that have seemingly pulled over because they have invalidated their times. And as you said, track limits would become an issue here, and it's becoming an issue quite evident right now, especially in qualifying. Now, with the race, you get 3 warnings for track limits. If you've gained time, you can go off the track as long as you don't gain time. But if you do gain time, you will get 1 warning. You get 3 strikes, like how it is in baseball. But it's not 3 strikes, you're out. You have 3 strikes. If you get another one, then you're out. You'll have a drive-through, and then you'll have to serve that within 3 laps, as Doyle crosses the line to go 16th. Now, we do have very few drivers on a valid lap. We have the 19, the 9, and the 53, all still with valid laps. We have Luke Nelson in the Dead Fish Racing. So far, he's not a dead fish yet. He's still breathing. He's still moving. Where can he put that Aston Martin? Can he put it ahead of Doyle? Can he make the triple decker back again, forcing Nairati to just be surrounded by Aston Martins no matter where he goes? And nope, Luke Nelson does not improve. The number 9 behind of Estevez still sits 11th, and now there's just 1 car that remains. It is the 53, and he actually invalidates. But so far, it seems that qualifying is still going, despite everyone being invalid. So someone's still on a valid lap, it seems, either the 42, the 787, or the 20.
Yeah, it just might be another bit of a glitch where somebody crossed the start-finish line and then returned to the garage, but their lap's still technically valid, so we're just going to have to wait and see for the session 2 forward itself. But nonetheless, Ricardo Rivera finishing on top with a 151.637, 7 tenths clear of second place sitter Ruotsalainen. And with that car crossing the line, the race session is now underway, and we will get started with our grid walk, starting with our top 10. In first place, Ricardo Rivera commanding pole position time, 7 tenths clear of second place center Second place sitter Ilpo Ruotsalainen in the 666 Camaro in a bit of a McLaren sandwich, as Neil Kerbel in the 395 qualified in third place. With Professor Chronotis in the 42 McLaren, Trackalicious LSR 24-hour livery sits in fourth place. Another McLaren, this time it's Potts Weaver of Potts Autosport in the number 13 machine. Alex Freeman, the first of the Aston Martins, sits in sixth place in the number 14 car. Two Alexes side by side. Alex Hansen in the Slipstream Dreamers 390 Mercedes AMG. Ramon Torres in the 181 McLaren in 8th place. Justin Beachley in that Beach GT livery we saw earlier in the 18 AMG sits in 9th place. And to round out our top 10 is Eric Cuevas in the 33rd Motorsports number 33 Aston Martin. And now, for the rest of the grid, I'm going to hand it over to you, Tyler.
All right, so we got Andy Estevez in the Dominican Republic, number 9 Aston Martin. He is also surrounded by more Aston Martin today. To Provolone, he is sitting in 12th. Mitchell Nairati, number 32 in the BMW Rogue Element Racing. He sits 13th, surrounded by more Aston Martins. The number 53 Mad Fox Mirko Yantanashi sits 14th. Another Aston Martin, as Zane Blisk of the Mad Fox 115 Aston Martin will sit 15th. And then we have the P2 finisher of last week, Austin Doyle, not where he wants to be right now, in 16th with Doyle Motorsport number 11 Porsche. Then he's got Colin Sugg for company. Sugg lost out, got the podium in the first race, but lost out in the second. He sits 17th, car number 34. Luke Nelson, nope, not the last of the Aston Martins, number 19, sits 18th. And now we have a Camaro of Eric Velez, the PREC Camaro Mobile 88 in 19th. Then we got Dr. Porkchop, who had a fascinating battle all throughout the races. He's number 71 and sits 20th. Then next you have Sebastian Zolsdorf in the number 23 Mercedes. He will be in 21st. And then next you have Dutchy in the Mad Fox 621 Aston Martin as the cars get going. Next we have Martino in the 111 Porsche. He will sit 23rd. You got Juan Perez in the number 20 Porsche Motorsport. He is in 24th. Then you have Wade Gorgonson in the McLaren 707, sits 25th. And then we have Take Me to Church, Jacob Church in the 1 Bigley 253, number 26.
Absolutely.
Wow,
Yeah, big grid today. 26 cars. Jacob Church in the back with a pretty fun-looking livery. I really like that design. And at the front, Ricardo Rivera with another fun design on that 787 McLaren, the Puerto Rico E-Racing Club livery on his McLaren, sitting in pole position. And as promised, it is the open race. Time for Tyler's predictions.
Oh, okay, so I actually don't think we will see one McLaren on the podium. Let that be a thing. We will see one McLaren, one Aston, and then we will have someone unsuspecting in the top 5. And you know what? I'm just going to call it out right now because I know this prediction can't be lost. Ricardo Rivera will win this race. And with that, I have to quickly run, so Kuja, take it over. I should be back in time for greens.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, Ricardo Rivera had a really good race last time at Imola to start off the season. Super strong in the season opener last week. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We appreciate you following along for the GT4 racing at Trackalicious on Mondays. Open Series and the Rookie Series taking place back-to-back, as well as plenty of other fun events planned throughout the week, but we will get to those at the end of this race and show you all that Trackalicious has to offer throughout the sim racing world. Formation lap underway, about halfway done. Drivers warming up the brakes, warming up the tires, getting themselves hot and ready for the race start, approaching Sector 3, and this is where they will start lining up side by side in that zipper formation, which we will see the rolling start get going very shortly. Just 2 corners to go for the start of, or for the end of the formation lap to conclude and get us going under the green flags. A pit stop is mandatory for the drivers, 25 seconds to refuel, and of course the drivers do have the option of adding another 5 seconds to their pit stop to take on fresh tires and hopefully give them an advantage over their competitors in the closing stages of the race. 1 corner to go, lining up 2 by 2 by 2 all the way down from 1st to 26th. Big grid today in the Open Championship. Green lights about to illuminate at the start. Who will get the better getaway? Will it be the Camaro? Will it be the McLaren? They're pretty much side by side as we get going at the start of the race. Pretty good looking at the back as well. Not too many 3 wide battles going on as we saw earlier. And the Camaro's going to try the sweep around the outside. Gets a really good overspeed. And they're going to keep battling down the hill around this little kink of a corner and into the downhill braking zone. Who will have the advantage? The McLaren's going to sweep around the outside, but the Camaro has the inside. The McLaren now has the inside line for the next corner and takes it away from the Camaro, but the Camaro has a really strong overspeed, but isn't quite able to get alongside, and that is not Neil Kerbel. I believe that is Alex Hansen moving up the grid in that McLaren that is brightly colored. I apologize. It is Professor Chronotis moving up into 3rd place, Kerbel in 4th, Freeman in 5th, Potts Weaver in 6th place, and Ricardo Rivera able to maintain the lead through the 1st sector, and now they approach the 2nd sector where it is pretty difficult to overtake here.
Definitely, it's definitely difficult to overtake. So far, it doesn't seem like any yellow just yet. We had some slight contacts in the back of the field there, but all seems to be rounding out just fine for now. So far, Neil has lost a place to the Professor. Considering they're talking in the same chat right now, it's actually kind of hilarious. I wonder what the conversation is there. But so far, my prediction so far stands Ricardo Rivera in an excellent position to still hold on to the win of this race. Nothing may stop him now, as that is Austin Doyle now. Maybe has lost a few places. He was 12th on the timing board. He's now all the way back in 17th. It just might be the chart being all weird considering how many drivers we have, but let's see what position he's in when he crosses the line. I do believe he has Mitch Nairati for company behind him. Yes, he does. And Nairati and Doyle sits 13th with Nairati sitting 14th. Nairati lost a few places there. Oh, kind of faked a move there, Nairati did. Doyle might go up the inside of the Cheeseman of Provolone, but so far no chances given as Provolone goes wide. That might allow Doyle the opportunity to go round the outside into this little hairpin turn that we have here, where the outside will become the inside. As long as Doyle can hang it there, he might have an opportunity as the Cheeseman gets all squirrely. Some slimy cheese that Provolone is, but so far it looks like he might stay safe. Doyle, oh, he's not thinking recklessly like right now. He still holds on right on the back of that cheese. He can sniff it. He can smell it. Is he gonna take a bite? What is he gonna do? He has Nairati right behind him. Nairati stalking, waiting to see what happens next, but so far everything's gonna hold firm here right now.
Yeah, just taking a little bit heavy on those curbs was Provolone, but the Aston has really good control. There's a bit of a slide from Yatanashi in the background, but able to keep that Aston pointed in the correct direction with this 4-car battle going on from 12th to 15th place, and Luke Nelson and Blisk trying to get involved in the action as well. We've got the 621 of Rally Duchy off in the background. Just a little bit of a yellow flag incident there, able to keep the car rolling now. And like you said, a pretty good start. Not too many yellow flags, maybe a bit of bumper to bumper contact, but good start from the open series in the beginning of their 50-minute race. Just a few laps under our belts. Drivers still getting used to the conditions, getting used to how the car feels, trying to line up any sort of moves. Not quite as desperate this time, or in these races, to line up and get past people as in the rookies, as you've got 50 minutes of racing with a pit stop as well. So you don't have to send it as early or as often as we may have seen in the few 20-minute races open. A little bit more tactical, more calculated moves here in the open series for this longer race.
Torres did make a move on Beachley there into that double hairpin type corner there, so he has lost a place out to Ramon Torres. Now here's the problem: Beachley's got the Cheeseman, Provolone, and Doyle, and Nairati, and all the drivers that are behind him, trying to make a case for the position that is just outside the crucial top 10. Beachley's gonna have to defend, and it's only been 5 minutes into this race. So far, so good as the Cheeseman himself tries to get as close as he can to the beach. Cheese and the beach don't really make a good pairing unless there's some wine involved. But so far, I thought Doyle may have had an opportunity on the Cheeseman there to get that overtake. Doyle seems almost desperate to try and get the Cheeseman here. He's going to take around the outside and try and get that overspeed advantage. The BMW and Nairati having an excellent view of this. And down the inside goes Doyle. However, Provolone is still there. Nairati's got nowhere to go. He's literally side by side with Provolone and Doyle. So far, it looks like Provolone might win out, and now Doyle's going to come under attack from Nairati, and Nairati's going to come under attack from Yatanashi. This is insane.
Yeah, Provolone running a little bit wide on the exit there, actually giving the position to Doyle, and we're going to see if that Porsche has the speed on the Aston Martin, and that BMW sniffing any opportunity it can. We've seen the BMW straight line speed. They're going to go 3 wide. Mitch Nairati thinks the better of it, just tucks in behind this battle going on for 12th and 13th place, and Doyle sweeps through the inside to take the lead, but Provolone's not giving it up easily. He's having a look on the inside, but Doyle not leaving any space and gets the number 11 Porsche up into 12th place, and running a little bit wide, has a massive train of cars behind him. We can see from the rear wing just how many cars that is. 6 cars fitting into the picture here, so wants to run as smooth as possible. Any little mistake might cost him a position. Luke Nelson looking a little bit aggressive on Nairati behind, trying to get that position from the BMW, but the BMW is thinking better of it and is defending that inside line, not giving Luke Nelson anything to think about.
Nice defense by Nairati here. Nice defense at all. Beautiful. Just sat in the middle of the track, took that inside line, crucial inside line, and Luke Nelson's back on the fight. Nairati's going to do his best to try and get rid of Luke Nelson here, but that Aston Martin is pretty powerful right now in the straights. They're almost comparable, but Nairati does really well at defending. I would know, I've tried, and it doesn't. He knows just how to defend. He will give you that car's width and nothing more. That's Austin Doyle going wide. I don't know if they're by Provolone, but that has now brought Austin Doyle back into the clutches of Luke Nelson and Nairati, and that has allowed Provolone to get back up into, I do believe that is 12th place. So no one so far has pit yet, even though it's only 8 minutes in. That's not surprising. It's not about a move here. He fakes the move, and that is Luke Nelson going round the outside, a little bit of a deep dive, and that's Nairati washing out wide, making a little bit of contact, but both drivers survive. Both drivers continue on. That's what you like to see here. You don't like to see incidences that take another driver out, and it's just a train of cars right now. You got Doyle and Nairati, and then you have Nelson, Yatanashi, and Bliss all chasing behind, trying to get positions, and we haven't even hit the 10-minute mark yet.
Yeah, still plenty of racing to go. Oh, a little bit of a slide from Yatanashi. Fantastic, able to save that, and still right on the tail of Luke Nelson. but Luke Nelson looking really aggressive into the chicane, trying to get the position on the BMW before this complicated, snaky section of Sector 2 at the Hungaroring, and has plenty of Aston Martins behind for company. The two Mad Fox Aston Martins of Yatanashi and Blisk behind for company. Doesn't want to commit too many mistakes, but at the same time wants to stay as close as possible to the BMW in front to move up the grid. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens during the pit stop phase, who starts it, who triggers everybody coming in, and just what sort of strategy everybody decides to go on during their pit stops.
Yeah, and I feel like the undercut here is going to be really powerful, as you have Pottsweaver following the back of Alex Hansen, doing his best to try and get into the top 5, and you have Freeman diving into the box right now, it seems. Is the undercut going to be the play, crucially? And that's going to be Pottsweaver going round the outside for to take the inside. And now Pottsweaver will have the inside, while Alex Hansen will have the outside. It's crucial here to get this overtake done in this corner, and that is Pottsweaver going down the inside. Hansen's going to try the switchback, defended well by Pottsweaver, and that is going to be a top 5 appearance for Pottsweaver as long as he doesn't spin the car there. All seems to be fine and dandy. That is top 5 for the McLaren number 13.
Yeah, absolutely textbook move there from Pottsweaver, outside, turning into the inside, and he sent that McLaren super late on the brakes and not giving Alex Hansen any sort of room to make that cutback, and now is going to try to run away, but Alex Hansen staying super close in that purple and black liveried Mercedes. New livery for this week from Alex, very creative to see on his end. Always fun to see the creative liveries of everybody on the grid. And yeah, good pop of color here as we've got purple versus orange, and in the back a slightly darker orange versus bright yellow, and that is the battle between Cuevas and Torres for 7th and 8th place.
Oh, and we do believe we have lost the 621. He was yellow flagged, he went back to the pits, and now he's disappeared. So we have sadly lost one of the drivers. Now, as I was saying before, an excellent battle just seeming to happen. Honestly, pit stopping early and maybe grabbing tires might not necessarily be a bad thing, especially with Hungaroring. It kind of tends to eat the tires a little bit. So, especially if you can get yourself into some clean air where you're not held up by like the traffic, is very, very important and crucial. Especially with the undercut being as powerful as it is here, and as we have Vincente, could I suggest to cut the stream in 2? At the end of the rookies race, end the stream and start the open. That way the rookies can watch the replay. I mean, the rookies can watch the replay. You just have to wait a little bit. That's all.
Vicente, there is also, if you go into Twitch and look up recent videos, there is a way to rewind the stream if you search for it under videos as opposed to just going into the live, and that might be a way that you can rewatch the videos now as opposed to having to wait for later. Hopefully that works for you, and yeah, let me know if not. We can I'll try to guide you through that a little bit better. And yeah, I know there is a way to do it. I've done it before, and hopefully that a little bit of guidance helps you there, Vicente. And yeah, it's just kind of hard for us to switch the streams, especially with that interview portion in the middle with the winners from the rookies race. And yeah, more confirmation from the chat that yeah, I do that all the time. So yeah, Vicente, just plop into the videos section and you should be able to rewind and take a look at the action from the races earlier.
I didn't even know you could do that. That's cool. I didn't even know you could do that. So that's good information for even me to know. It looks like pits here. Nope. He just ran a little bit wide. Ran a little bit wide and kept into the pit kind of area. So maybe a false pit. Maybe trying to juke out his opponents, pull an F1, kind of fake the box. But nope. You have Eric Cuevas, who's sitting 7th right now. Ramon Torres, what is happening back there in the backfield? That is absolute madness, as you have the Cheeseman fighting it out with Estevez, and that is up the inside the Cheeseman goes. However, Estevez going to look to get on the power early, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. As actually, Nairati has actually lost out to Luke Nelson, it seems. So Nairati is down now back into 14th as he's lost that position to Luke Nelson. Who knows when that happened, but Nairati still has a chance to fight it out. He's kind of not in no man's land, but he's got a little bit of a gap behind him as Provolone puts himself into the top 10.
Yeah, good move there on Estevez, moving the Cheeseman himself up into the top 10. Just gonna have to wait and see where he ends up after the pit stops. Alex Freeman, being the one car who has stopped so far, is technically rolling last on track, but setting really good lap times in clean air. A 53.2 on his last lap compared to a 53.6 from the runners in the back. Or sorry, not in the back, in the front, who have yet to pit. So he does have a little bit of a pace advantage just running in clean air at the back. And thank you to everybody commenting. It's hard to keep up with everybody. And thank you for all the support. We appreciate you guys chatting along. At the lead, Ricardo Rivera, 4.5 seconds clear of the 666 Camaro of Ruotsalainen. And he himself is 1.5 seconds clear of Neil Kerbel, who was able to get through Chronotis after losing it on the race start. And Potts Weaver not too far off, 2.3 seconds in that number 13 McLaren, with Hansen, Cuevas, Torres, Beachley, and Provolone here rounding out our top 10.
This is actually kind of crazy, to be honest with you. Like, the order in terms of the top really hasn't changed all that much, so it'd be interesting to see how the pit stops go. And so far, my predictions technically are holding serve, except for the fact that I said only one McLaren and then one Aston in the podium. I have the McLaren, I just need an Aston. So like maybe I can get Cuevas after pits, maybe Provolone because he's got pace. But right now, Andy Estevez is currently trying to chase Austin Doyle, and it isn't really working out for him so far. Now, mind you, there's still 34 minutes left to go in this race, and no one's taken any pit stops yet, other than the number 14, as you said, is putting in good laps. He's almost actually caught up to the back of the backfield. He's still a few corners away, but he's catching and putting in good lap times. So, honestly, he might have taken my advice. He might have just pit for clean air, throw on some fresh tires, and just have some fun back there. Yes, it's going to be boring being alone, but like the benefits of having clear air is almost just as good.
Yeah, 100%. Getting involved in these battles slows many cars down, not just one, but potentially up to 3 if there's a really big battle going on with a multiple trains of cars. Just a bit of a Constantina effect where one car slows down the rest behind, and if one car makes a mistake in front, there might not be room for anyone to get by, so everybody's lap times get compromised in the end, as opposed to those who have pitted and are running in that clean air don't really have to worry about that at all. And yeah, on that last lap, again gaining a few tenths on the runners in the midfield from 9th to 13th. This battle is going to keep going on. Austin Doyle has moved up through the field really well. Not quite in the usual qualifying position we've seen him, that podium sitter from last time out in round 1. Moving up the field, though, pretty well in that Porsche, Tyler.
Definitely, he's doing all. Here comes the dive, though. That dive by Luke Nelson's going to be a little bit advantageous as he's going to force himself wide. That's going to allow the Nairati the opportunity to maybe get that, but he does. Nairati will get that place back. He might even lose a position to Blisk here. That was a little bit of an advantageous dive on Luke Nelson from Estevez, almost getting Doyle in the process, but just a little bit too advantageous, a little bit too greedy, and he's lost out a few places because of it.
Yeah, just a little aggressive on that braking zone, just running wide and not quite able to maintain the grip of the Aston Martin around the outside. Question, which BOP does Trackalicious use for GT4s? If I had to guess, it's probably the LFM BOP. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tyler.
I do believe it's the LFM BOP, at least from what I can remember. I do believe it's the LFM BOP. It's kind of like the universal. Neil is apparently catching second, according to Shadow Nemesis.
He is less than a second to Ruotsalainen, closing that gap from 1.5 seconds now to 0.7 seconds. We'll tune into that battle in just a second as these 3-car battle continues between Cuevas, Hansen, and Torres. Nobody trying to go into the pits yet, not quite at that halfway mark yet. Hansen, though, running a little bit wide in the Mercedes, might give that overspeed advantage to the Aston Martin behind. Wrong camera selection here, but Cuevas right on the tail of Hansen, bobbing and weaving side to side. Hansen defends ultimately down the inside, running a little bit deep into the braking zone. The cutback from Cuevas is on, and now they're going to run side by side down the hill with the McLaren of Torres trying to pick up the scraps as well. Not quite 3 wide. Hansen runs deep into the corner. The switchback is on again from Cuevas, and now it's side by side between Torres and Hansen. Who's going to win out? Torres wins out, and Hansen loses out on 2 places in the first 2 corners of the lap, and unfortunately for Hansen, now back into 8th place.
See, that right there is why you can't get too greedy. You slipped up, you might have lost the position to Cuevas. That's fine. Don't lose it to Torres. But because he went deep into turn 3, he as friggin' Cuevas and Torres wave goodbye to him as he passed by, as Luke Nelson drops into the pits for his pit stop. That's what'll happen. You get too aggressive with your defense, you drive on by, and the other drivers wave goodbye to you as you go wide. It's just, I understand Hansen's defense there. It's just a little too aggressive on the defense, and he lost 2 places because of it.
Yeah, just running just that slight, even braking a meter or 2 late. The car just doesn't have the grip it needs to with the camber of that corner, always braking away from the inside. So it was really hard to get it slowed down as you brake through the corner. So you really want to get a majority of your braking done before you start turning into that off-cambered corner. But yeah, like the chat mentioned, Neil Kerbel did get close to the back of the 2nd place runner, Ruotsalainen, in the 666 Camaro, and now we're seeing a bit of action in the pit lane as Doyle, Estevez dive into the pit lane. Luke Nelson as well was in the pits, and we'll just have to wait and see where they end up on track after that.
I'm interested to see if Freeman comes out ahead of them, because Freeman dove into the box really, really early. So I'm interested to see if Freeman gets ahead of both Doyle and Estevez.
Yeah, let's
right now he is approaching the edge of turn 14 here. Neither Estevez nor Doyle are moving yet, and it looks like he's going to gain these 2 positions. Maybe, just maybe, I was right. Maybe I'm not crazy. As Freeman flashes us, he knows we're watching him.
Yeah, Alex Freeman certainly putting in good laps after the pit stop. I believe his battle was more with Alex Hansen, Torres, and Cuevas before he entered the pits. So it'll be interesting to see his position relative to those in the top 5 after they ultimately decide to serve those mandatory pit stops that we have in the open 50-minute race.
Torres still isn't out of this battle. He still can get Cuevas. Hansen, if I'm Hansen, dive into the pits right now. Do it. Oh, doesn't listen to me. It's like no one wants to listen to my strategy. Like, I know what I'm talking about. I may predict wrong and I may have them completely jinxed, but like, I sometimes know what I'm doing. Ricardo Rivera is winning the race. Like, I've at least got that prediction right.
Yeah, we're 1 for 3 so far, if I'm not mistaken, but still more than half of the race to go, so anything can happen, especially with those pit stops. We never know what the strategies are for any of the drivers. We can just look at numbers, and we can only assume, and just call it every lap. Eventually, it'll be right. There you go. That's a good strategy there for maybe 6 Scott.
Now, no, listen here, Logan users. I'm not cursing the drivers. I would never in my life want to curse a driver. I'm just making a prediction. It's not a curse, it's just a prediction.
It's not our fault they're listening to it and doing what we're telling them. So, it goes both ways. I'm just kidding.
Ramon Torres still on the back of Cuevas here. They're not really given any chance, really any movement, and that is Eric Velez on the back of Sugg, it seems. That Camaro really does pull on the straights, so he must be catching up. He's got to be catching up in straights, it seems.
Yeah, really fun looking color too on that Camaro, that bright yellow / orange kind of sunset color. Really popping, and that black at the front makes it look really aggressive as well with the red lines. Good looking livery from Eric Velez. Yeah, like you said, getting pretty close to the back of Sugg, but not able to continue the battle throughout the lap. Maybe down the back straights, the Camaro we'll see where that Camaro has advantage. Potts Weaver into the pits from the top 5. Ramon Torres in the pits as well. Beachley coming in right as we hit that 25-minute mark, and Eric Velez looking like he's gonna do the same, with Sugg deciding to go into the pits in front as well. Yatanagi and Blisk doing the same.
Okay, so I guess at the 25-minute mark, everyone... Time to pit. Let's do that right now. Now, you did say that Freeman was battling with the Weaver and Torres and Beachley, so where is that man now?
Yeah, Freeman in the number 14 is just rounded out the final corner and is on the back straight already. Let's see exactly where Freeman is going to end up after that. And Freeman already going through, and going through Jacob Church as well. Already going through one of the drivers who have yet to stop, and that is the position gained for Freeman on all of those in the pits. So an absolutely masterful strategy call to come in early.
It's like I knew what I was talking about. Like, I do have some good thoughts here. Like, I'm not all just curses and jinxes and stuff. Like, there is a little bit of strategy involved. Because, like, again, as I said, get out of the dirty air. Get out of the Constantina effect. Don't slow your lap times, as Neil Kerbel's going to go for the under. Oh, my! Okay, good. He didn't go over the pit lane speed limiter, but he did go wide and probably earned himself a track limit violation because of how wide he went there out of the pit lane. Who's following behind him? Is that the professor? Yes, it is. And that is going to be Cuevas following behind him as well. So now you got drivers kind of coming in to take their pit stops. Who's that coming in behind Cuevas? I saw another driver coming in there. That would be the cheese man, Jason Provolone. Is Nairati going to join them, or is Nairati going to... It's like Nairati keep continuing on, going long, it seems. But like I said, if you're in the middle of the pack and you're in the middle of a battle, especially early on, again, just pit, take some tires, get some fresh rubber, get some clean air, and look what it's done to Freeman. It's worked absolute wonders, and he's in the penultimate corner right now. I don't think he'll get... Oh wow, Ricardo Rivera actually boxed 2 there. We didn't even notice that. I don't think he'll get Ricardo Rivera or Kerbel, but he may get Cuevas, Provolone. No, maybe not Chronotis. It's going to be close coming out of the pits. It's going to be really tight coming out of the pits. Freeman is barreling down right now, and I actually think he's gotten past all of them. He has! He has gotten himself at this moment, I believe. I don't think he got out ahead of Rivera, but did he get out ahead of Professor Chronotis? He did! He's got himself at the moment right now, I believe he's got himself 6th.
Yeah, he is ahead of Chronotis and behind Kerbel, so that should be an overall 4th place, because Kerbel was running in that last podium position in 3rd, with Chronotis not too far behind in 4th. And now, with Freeman's position on track, I do believe he is ahead of the 42 of Chronotis, who is just about 5 seconds behind. And once again, a good strategy call to pit in early from Alex Freeman, now running an 8th overall, about 6 seconds to catch up to the McLaren of Neil Kerbel in front, with Ricardo Rivera stopping as well. Ruotsalainen inherited the race lead for just the lap and is now into the pits from the lead in the 666 Camaro. Alex Hansen also in the box, and that is going to give the race lead to Mitch Nairati, who will cross the line for his lap in the lead, now passing Ruotsalainen, and Mitch Nairati in the 32 in the lead, still yet to make a pit stop.
I was about to say, I'm interested to see what the play is going to be for Nairati here. Like he's just kind of sat now, mind you. This is his home race. He does have a Hungarian background, as Ricardo Rivera flies by both Hansen and Ruotsalainen there to take the position. Does Freeman cross? Track limits for 19. That would be Luke Nelson. It took 30 minutes for it to happen, but he's past Hansen now, it seems. That's good strategy call by Freeman, but yep. That is an unfortunate drive-through for Luke Nelson. He's going to have to serve that within the next 3 laps, and I do believe it's just Nairati left. He is the only one not to have pit so far in this race.
Yeah, going a little bit long is Mitch Nairati. Now he himself has the clean air to breathe and try to get those positions back. After the pit stop, our friends in the chat saying Ruotsalainen unfortunately lost second place to Neil Kerbel, who is now sitting in second place overall in the race after Mitch Nairati serves his pit stop. Unfortunate from the 666 to have that happen. Let's take a look at their pit stop times, and it is identical pit stop times from Rivera, Kerbel, and the man we're watching here, Ilpo Ruotsalainen. And Alex Freeman electing actually not to take any tires with a 27-second pit stop. Chronotis a little bit long, as well as Weaver, Cuevas, and Torres looking like they did elect to take new tires. And yeah, interesting strategy calls there.
The 111 just got disqualified for speeding in the pit lane.
No!
I saw that. Who is the 111?
That is Valerio Martino.
Oh, Martino gets disqualified. You got to be going really fast to get disqualified for speeding in the pit lane. And now Nairati, where will he come out after going long? Where will he sit? He was battling the lights of Blisk and Doyle. That's where he was. Now, my question is where is he going to get out of? And he's still sitting there. The number 11 of Doyle is just getting around the final corner, and that is Nairati done his pit stop. Where is he gonna come out? Is he gonna come out ahead? Who is he gonna come out ahead of is the question. Because there's Doyle. Number 9 would be Estevez. He's gonna find himself ahead of Estevez. He's gonna find him, I believe, in 13th or 14th here. If I try not to make mistakes, but according to ACC, it says he's in 13th, and he is going to be behind the 115. Who is the 115? And that's going to be Bliss. So yeah, he's going to find himself in 13th, 14th.
Yeah, just gonna have to wait and see where that sector timer is gonna take us after they cross sector 1, and I believe you are correct. He should be in 13th behind Blisk, ahead of Estevez in yet another Aston Martin sandwich. Mitch Nairati's been involved in one pretty much for the entirety of the race so far. Good Mercedes battle going on here between Beachley and Hansen, the 390 pink car and the camo car. The number 18 of Beachley going to battle for 9th and 10th place on the track with under 20 minutes to go in the race, which AMG will come out on top. Pretty evenly matched, I would assume, based on the car choice, so it's just going to have to be based on the driver's skill and where one can find an advantage over the other in the remaining minutes of the race.
Now, this could happen, and this would be the funniest thing, as Neil Kerbel will take the fastest lap. I said one McLaren on the podium. One Oh, who got a drive-through? Number 9. Oh, the drive-through. And he's going to be and he was battling Nairati, so Nairati's now going to have a nice free cushion as long as he himself doesn't get a drive-through. But I did say Ricardo Rivera would win, 1 McLaren on the podium, and 1 Aston Martin. Freeman is in 4th place. If Kerbal or Ilpo get a drive-through or spin or something, I can get it right. There is hope. There's hope here for this.
Yeah, there certainly is. Freeman, like we've been mentioning the whole time, with that early pit stop, electing to come in early, get away from all of the racing action, and ride in the clean air, is up into 4th place overall in the race. God bless you, Tyler, with a 7.6 second gap to Ilpo in 3rd place. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be a little bit too high of a gap for him to climb back, especially without taking tires during his 27-second pit stop, and it goes from bad to worse from Estevez as he now picks up a stop-go 30, most likely from speeding in the pit lane. And unfortunately for the number 9 Aston Martin, his day has gone from bad to worse as Alex Hansen runs wide. Justin Beachley sweeps on through and takes 9th place away. Alex Hansen gonna have to claw his way back and take 9th away from Beachley, with Provolone fast approaching in the background.
It wasn't a sneeze. I was just trying to cover a gasp as I saw the stop go 30 for Estevez. That's insanely unfortunate for Estevez. He was riding a good race, riding strong, and just unfortunately a drive-through and then a stop go 30, and then that's your race. You're done. Have a nice night. I hope next week goes better. But yeah, what a move by Beachley. A little bit of a slip up by Hansen, but that's all you need these days, and Beachley will take P9s. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Now we have Cuevas and Potts Weaver as a chance maybe to just sniff the edge of the top 5. Now, mind you, there's 14 minutes left to go in this race, so there's still plenty of time to make a move happen, so you can have a little bit of patience. But as the clock slowly ticks down, you will become ever so impatient, and you will be desperate to look for a move to get past your opponent. But just calm, nice and easy. Your opponent will mess up. I'm calling it now, Cuevas. Weaver will make a mistake, and you will get by him.
Yeah, like you said, still plenty of racing left, and at a track like Hungaroring, we've seen it in the rookies. You dip a wheel into the grass, which is pretty close to the track limit line, and it could send your car spinning completely in the wrong direction. So just one little slip of focus, one little lapse of concentration, and any of these drivers could see their cars facing the wrong way and slipping down the order. And this is a good 3-car battle here between Weaver, Cuevas, and Torres, just kind of ebbing and flowing as the lap goes on. A little bit of an advantage here for one driver, a little bit of a disadvantage for the other, and this battle should be continuing on in the remaining 13 minutes of the race, as well as the battle just a few seconds behind between Beachley, Hansen, and now Provolone getting right involved into the mix as well.
The Cheese Man will not be denied his top 10 finish. He's going to have a slice of to celebrate if he can find himself in the top 10. But he's got a little bit of work to do. Hansen seemingly losing grip everywhere. He's losing time. It's pretty much not every car behind, but most cars behind, as Provolone finds himself now within a second. Sadly, there is no DRS, unlike in F1, where the drivers have to pass on pure speed and skill alone.
Yeah, only a bit of a slipstream advantage to the car behind, with the car in front punching a hole in the air, but it didn't really work out too well as we saw for the rookies. It just really depends on, sometimes it really just depends on the car. The BMW we saw in the previous races absolutely swallowing the Alpine on the straights, but the Alpine fighting back hard with that nimble and small chassis through the corners. Provolone sliding it through the fast corner of turn number 4 before heading into the tight and tricky section of Sector 2, where he is going to try and close the gap down to Alex Hansen, who did more than likely not take tires during that 29-second pit stop that he had, and Provolone will have that tire advantage as his pit stop was slightly over 30 seconds.
Yeah, that makes sense why he's catching up, but Provolone just ate a massive curb. Like, just straight up mounted it. Now, mind you, he hasn't lost that much time to Hansen because of the tire advantage, but he ate that curb for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this is what the front of Provolone can see. He can see Alex Hansen, he can see Beachley up in the distance, but Beachley not his concern right now. His concern right now is Alex Hansen. Hansen's tires after 40 minutes are screaming for mercy, it seems. But there's still 10 minutes to go, and Provolone on the fresh rubber has the chance to make the overtake, and this is what the tire advantage will do for you.
Yeah, 100% tire advantage at the front for Neil Kerbel as well, but it looks like Ricardo Rivera with a identical pit stop time more than likely also decided to take on those fresh rubbers, as Provolone is getting really slidey on the exit of the corners, not looking too good on grip at the moment despite more than likely taking tires during the pit stop. And yeah, just mentioning Neil Kerbel with the fastest lap of the race, closing the gap to Rivera just a tiny little bit at a time, but there might not be enough time left in the race for him to challenge for the race lead.
No, I think it's all but Ricardo's time, to be honest with you. I mean, was there ever really a doubt? In my mind, there was never really a doubt that Ricardo Rivera was going to lose this race. That's why I predicted it. It's almost a guarantee that he will not lose this race. As Cuevas, I'm still hoping for I'm still holding out for the Pottsweaver mistake for you, buddy. Don't worry, it's coming. My commentator's curse just works every time. But so far, it doesn't look like Pottsweaver's given me the opportunity, as Cuevas tries an interesting move getting out of the slipstream. Maybe to cool his tires, maybe? I mean, depending on if he's taking tires, and he's actually gained a significant amount there through that corner. I don't think that was the move there yet, there, Cuevas. You got to be a little bit more patient. A move attempted there by the 33 Aston Martin onto the 13 McLaren just didn't pan out the way that he had hoped there.
Yeah, just taking a bit of an alternate line out of the exit, maybe just having a little bit of an oversteer moment, having to take to that inside line, but still pretty much glued to the back of the McLaren in front, nothing separating him. He's going to try and look down the inside, but Pottsweaver is completely unfazed by any movement behind, just racing his own line, taking the braking points that he knows how to take, and just letting Cuevas move around behind, lose a little bit of lap time as well from all that weaving he's doing, perhaps letting Torres in the 181 gain a little bit of time here and there as well to turn this into a 3-car battle in the last 10 minutes of the race.
The Professor's actually gaining on Freeman a little bit. He's within a second now. Something to keep an eye on, at least for right now. Did the Professor take tires? Because you said Freeman didn't.
Freeman did not, and Kurnotis' pit stop time was 35 seconds, so most likely took some tires and fixed a little bit of damage as well.
Ooh, that's going to give the Professor distinct advantage, especially with how early Freeman boxed. Those tires are screaming for mercy. Look how much the gap has closed. It was 0.9 through Sector 1. At the end of Sector 2, it's now 0.5. Freeman, with a marvelous pit stop strategy, is now reaping the sad ends of that. He's begging for grip as Professor Kurnotis slams the throttle, trying to get the speed. There's 7 and a bit and change left to go in this race. The tire advantage, every advantage so far is going to the Professor, and that is a drive-through for Jan Tanash. The opponents around Nairati are falling apart. Cuevas is looking to get Pottsweaver into turn 1, stay in the slipstream, keep it nice and going. Is he going to try and move up the inside of the McLaren? He thinks about it, he takes a look, However, the McLaren does have a little bit of a straight line speed on the Aston Martin. Not too much, though. It's about even, but with the straight line speed of the McLaren, he's able to keep that position away from Eric Cuevas. Pottsweaver holds on to 7th.
Yeah, good battle here. Eric Cuevas getting closer and closer to the back, but just can't get close enough to pull off a move into that big braking zone at turn 1. And like you mentioned, Yatanashi in the pits, serving that drive-through penalty for track limits. We are approaching that time where you do really want to push the limit, try and gain any sort of advantage that you can, but of course at the expense of the track limit penalties that the game could award. And unfortunately for Yatanashi, being the victim of one of those, being a victim there, he is almost got him. Push. I agree. Is bumper to bumper stuff between the two drivers battling out for 7th place, as well as the drivers battling it out for 4th and 5th. Kronotis and Freeman continuing on throughout the lap. The bright green or yellow tennis ball colored McLaren trying its hardest to catch up to that black and yellow Aston Martin of Freeman. He is caught up to him really right on the bumper, but Freeman defending really well in that Aston Martin in front.
Ooh, they both go wide. Incredibly wide. Can you imagine they both get drive-throughs? that would have been something. Now Professor gonna slowly take that passenger peak up the inside, but so far no move needing to be done just yet. Everything holding serve for right now. Professor just lying in wait, 5 minutes to go. Pottsweaver is now on the back of Ramon Torres, it seems.
Yeah, Ramon Torres on that last lap, a second off of his usual pace, allowing Pottsweaver and Cuevas to close the gap. And now it's a McLaren, Aston Martin battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th place between Torres, Weaver, and Cuevas, who will take 6th, 7th, and 8th in the last 5 minutes of this race. 45 minutes already behind us. Lots of action on track, even more through the pit lane, as the drivers deciding to take different strategies and maybe losing a little bit of time on the pit lane entry and exit, not quite having the practice and the entries dialed in for the race. And this is heating up into a really good 3-car battle towards the end of this race.
Freeman's just trying desperately to hold on. Pottsweaver's trying desperately to hold on while getting Ramon Torres. It's just seemingly in the middle of nowhere, it seems. These battles are just still holding, even after these pit stops. Now, mind you, everywhere else, the gaps are insanely wide. Like, even Nairati, he's 7 seconds behind, but 8 seconds up. So he's kind of in the middle of no man's land. And obviously you have these pockets of battles everywhere else, but so far the Professor's just running out of time to catch Freeman here.
Yeah, not enough time on the clock. 3.5 minutes as they cross the line. Should be about 2 or 3 laps depending on Ricardo Rivera's position when the timer hits 0. Currently with a 7.5 second lead over Neil Kerbel in 2nd place, who has a 3.3 second gap over the 666 Camaro in 3rd. And then Freeman and Kronotis battling it out for 4th and 5th places. This is a battle we're going to continue watching till the end, more than likely, as well as the battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th between Torres, Weaver, and Cuevas, still maintaining the same positions they were the lap before. Torres on a bit of a disadvantage at the front. Weaver coming under even more pressure behind now from Cuevas behind.
Just the time keeps slowly ticking. Time's running out. You have... Obviously, early on, you wanted to exercise patience, would come to you, but now that the move's not coming to you, you got to make a move. You got to do something. Obviously, you don't ruin the race or ruin your opponent's races. That's going to be Cuevas going over the curb, going a little bit wide and losing some time, allowing Pottsweaver to maybe get Ramon Torres or at least get closer to him and lose Cuevas a little bit. But they're all just together. They're just not losing each other no matter what the other does. And Freeman Freeman's still holding on to the Professor right now, and just I think we'll maybe get one more lap based on of where. Oh, that is a no. That's just a blue flag car moving out of the way. Smart call. Smart call. But yeah, I think Ricardo Rivera crossed the line in time for one more lap. So this lap they're coming on will not be the last one, unless Ricardo Rivera decides to slow down. Cuevas got to the edge of the Potts Weaver bumper, but look at that McLaren pole. It's not giving the Aston Martin any opportunity unless Cuevas dives from the next century over. He is not getting that position. Oh, wait a minute, he's gone. He's taken the slide move inside. He's braked early and gotten an exceptional release. However, it's still not going to do him any good. He still has to wait behind Potts Weaver. The pit window is now closed. If a drive-through happens, you are just sad here in this moment. Potts Weaver desperately trying to hold on to Eric Cuevas, as there's now 50 seconds left in this race, and it is all to play for here.
Yeah, still heavy battles for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th on camera here. 3 cars within a second of each other. 3 cars within a second of each other, and now Chronotis, you're right, Chronotis did get by Freeman. Let's see if we can check the replay and see how that happened here, and unfortunately not able to do so with the replay not going back far enough. But yes, you're right, Chronotis in the McLaren number 42 gets through into 4th place past Alex Freeman, and we were unable to see how he was able to do it, but he was able to do it on track. Not sure if there was a mistake from Freeman or anything, but the Professor up into 4th place, like you said. Tyler, yeah, good catch there. And the battle's going to continue here all the way to the end. Ricardo Rivera does cross the line for one more lap. So Eric Cuevas and Potts Weaver have one last attempt to change their positions or do anything about Ramon Torres being at the front of this pack. And the 2 McLarens are getting super close to each other at the front. Potts Weaver right on the bumper of Ramon Torres. One more launch down the straightaway. One more heavy braking zone into turn 1. He is lining it up. Torres trying to defend the slipstream, but Potts Weaver's just not close enough to send it on the inside. Great defense from Torres, running a little bit heavy on the curb. Oh no! No, Potts Weaver with the spin, giving up not just 1 but 2 places to Cuevas and Beachley. Costly mistake, dropping him into 9th place.
And now he's got front end damage. That'll put him in danger from Alex Hansen and the Provolone from Hansen and Provolone. Provolone trying to catch Hansen. He's been trying to get this move done the entire time, but he's just had no luck. Even with the tire advantage, even with everything, he hasn't been able to get past this Merc, and now this is the last chance. Potts Weaver, also with front end damage, is running out of, he's just got to cross the line. But ladies and gentlemen, was there ever a doubt to begin with? It's a prediction that is just set in stone. You can etch it in the history books. You can etch it on the wall. It does not matter. Ricardo Rivera will win this race again, and that is 2 in a row for the McLaren driver, as the Professor Chronotis, he's lost out to Freeman. How has that happened? And he's gone wide in a desperate attempt to get P4 back. What happened?
Yeah, not quite sure what happened there. Yeah, again, the replays are not going to do us any justice. It looks like it just happened a little bit too far back. But Freeman, after that fantastic strategy call, able to get through Chronotis again and finish 4th place, with the Professor finishing in 5th. And now just a few more drivers battling it out. Eric Cuevas not able to get through Ramon Torres, who finishes in 6th place. Beachley finishing in 8th. Potts Weaver in 9th. Alex Hansen is able to hold off the Cheeseman to finish in the top 10. Provolone in 11th. Blisk finishes 12th. Mitch Nairati, an eventful race at the beginning, a bit quiet at the end, will cross the line to finish in 13th. Perez already taking the checkered flag, as well as Church in 19th and 20th. Next to cross the line, Eric Velez in the 88 Camaro has Sug for company behind. Needs to get a good overspeed out of the corner to keep the Porsche behind, and he is able to do just that. The 88 and the 34 Porsche crossing the line in 14th and 15th. Moriko Yatanashi, after serving the drive-through penalty, will cross the line in 16th place, with Porkchop not too far back, just a few seconds in the Alpine to cross the line in 17th place. And we have just a few more to go. Austin Doyle finishing 17th in the pits in 11th. Last week podium finisher, not able to replicate the same results this week. And I believe that's going to be it. Everybody else in the pits. And that is the open race concluded.
I honestly can't believe I'm about to say this, but I think the rookies were better. Like, don't get me wrong, with pit strategy included, it's a little bit kind of crazy. Gaps like this will happen, but like, yeah, no, that was a pretty close race for it was a pretty close race for all involved there, especially for strategy calls. Hansen getting an important P4 with the early strategy call to box. Neo with the undercut on Ilpo to get that P2. It was just an amazing strategy call by everyone involved, and maybe we'll be able to get some drivers in for the interview, but
yeah, I'll just have to wait and see. As usual, the podium finishers know how to do it. Just join us in the green room and we'll pull you up to the main stream. Feel free to join us, our top 3 finishers, Ilpo, Neil, and Ricardo Rivera. Maybe we'll just be mean and steal Neil from his own voice channel and have a chat with him.
Doyle ran out of fuel. That's why he didn't cross the... Why do they keep doing this? Why do they keep running...
No.
Why do they keep doing this? It's so unfortunate.
I'm not sure.
Let's pull Ricardo Rivera in.
Yeah, go right ahead. We've got a hydrate from One Bigley, so I'm going to go ahead and redeem that.
All right, Ricardo Rivera, man, will anyone ever win a race that's not you in the lifetime that I've watched these races?
In the GT4s, no.
The confidence of this man blows no bounds. How did that race go for you? Were you ever really in danger of losing that first place finish?
I think at the start, the Camaro got a really good start, and it was like right behind me for like 2 laps. And so I was in the first lap like trying very hard to don't have it on the slipstream the first straight. But yeah, after that it was mostly like trying to boost fast lap after fast lap, and I ended up with 3 track warnings before the pit stop. So
goodness!
I had
warnings.
Yeah, a little bit careful after the pit stop there. Neil Kerbel was actually able to set the fastest lap time. Were you ever worried about the driver in second after the pit stop?
I was impressed by the lap time he put. I tried to beat it again, but with the 3 warnings, I think it wasn't the smartest thing to do. It was a pretty crazy lap, that lap he put. And then after, yeah, like he kept putting the same laps as me. So I wouldn't say worried, but I was actually impressed by his pace in the second stint. So I think it cost him that he was held up by Ilpo in the first stint. So I think that actually Ilpo really helped me in the first stint by holding up Neil Kerbel.
Dr. Porkchop says he needed to get that 4th track warning for anyone to have a chance, and honestly, your pace bodes no bounds, and I don't see anyone beating you this season. So I'm just gonna call it right now.
There's plenty of tracks to go.
You've won every race I've commentated. Like, you've won every race I've been a part of. Like, you can't stop winning.
I don't know. Anything can happen. I can get bumped in, I don't know, in T1 or get a drive-through. Like already in Imola and this Hungary today, I had the 3 warnings. So I don't know why I'm gambling with that much. But I don't know. Anything can happen. It's racing. I can get this idea, and I don't know, an internet issue or something.
Yeah, we have seen that in the past before. Luckily, it seems like we're able to get through those problems this season. And yeah, congrats again on finishing first in the second race of the new season at the Hungaroring today, Ricardo.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, next. Go
ahead, Tyler.
Ilpo. We'll bring in Ilpo next.
Yes, and we'll ask how to pronounce his last name.
I'm just gonna call him Ilpo. He is now Ilpo for me. I'm gonna butcher that last name every single time, even if he tells me how to pronounce Ilpo from now on. Ilpo, congratulations on your P3 first podium that I've gotten to see. I've gotten to see from you so far. Take us through that race. You got undercut by Kerbal there.
Yeah, but he was gonna overtake me anyway with the OP car.
It has nothing to do with the car, sir. It is the driver.
The McLaren doesn't have BOP laps on most tracks still, so yeah, not much I can do there.
You had a great start though. You kept P2. You kept him behind you for the entire time. Then he kind of just undercut you there. So take us through your race. Did you ever think you were going to get the race win from Ricardo?
Of course not. That was never an option. First of all, the McLaren is OP. On any track where it doesn't have a proper BOP lap, which this is one of them, I checked before the race. So that already puts me on a bad place. But also, it is ridiculously fast in a straight line. So even if I got ahead, I would still lose the position eventually. It's just a question of time. So not much I can do there. So P2 was the best option possible, and even that was kind of difficult to hold.
How many track warnings did you have by the end?
2.
I mean, that's fair. Ricardo had 3 even before his pit stop, so there was a little bit of hope, but sadly he kept going.
He had such a big lead that he didn't need to do anything. I tried really hard for the first 3 or 4 laps and kind of destroyed my tires there, but yeah, it's not enough.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it was good, exciting to see. First race I was able to commentate of yours, Ilpo. I was just very curious. How do you pronounce your last name?
It's pronounced Ruotsalainen.
Ruotsalainen. Got it. Try to do as good as possible for next time. And apologies if we butchered it a little bit during the race.
I've butchered it so bad.
I'm very used to that, and I understand because obviously a lot of other names are difficult for me to pronounce, so that's fine.
Yeah, well, congrats on finishing on the podium in this race, that first race that we've seen you, and yeah, hopefully plenty more action in the rest of the season ahead from you, Ilpo.
Yeah, I've been away from the GT4 Open for quite a long while, but yeah, I'm back now.
Heck, yeah, congrats again on finishing in P3, and now we're going to pull in our P2 finisher, Neil Kerbal. How's it going, Neil? Good evening. Congratulations on finishing in P2. Talk us a little bit through your race and your strategy during the pit stop.
It was a really rough race. I had some elbows out racing with Chrono at the start, but once I was able to build a gap between me and him, I was able to set my sights on Illipo, and it was just putting in a lot of consistent laps to catch up to him. And then I ended up taking tires in the pit stop just because Hungaroring eats tires.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of people went for the tire call this time around, and you were able to get the fastest lap of the race after your pit stop too. So you were closing a little bit to Ricardo Rivera after the pit stop, but I think his pace was just a little bit too much. But nonetheless, a good P2 finish. How were those battles at the beginning with the professor?
I think I may have made some errors in trying to pass him, but it's very difficult to pass Chrono. He is an exceptional driver. So he just got I think he bumped my car wide on lap 1 and then took the position, and I think I may have repaid the favor later on a lap or 2 down the road.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was pretty exciting at the beginning there. Any questions for you, Tyler?
Was the plan always to undercut Ilpo there, or was that kind of a...
No, I
Good.
did some practice to figure out what tire wear would be, and I figured like around midway through the race I would pit, and when the announcer said like halfway through the race, I was like, oh okay, I will pit this lap, and I was really hoping Ilpo wouldn't pit and stay out, and he did. I was able to undercut him.
Yeah, it seemed like the call for most people was right when they heard that halfway into the mark. Everybody seemed to dive into the pits. Lots of action right at that 25-minute mark. But yeah, congrats again, Neil. Another podium finish for you this season. And good luck in the remaining races. And I'm sure we'll see you again next week.
Thanks, guys.
Tyler, any closing remarks from you, my friend?
Other than, like, today was a beautiful amount of racing from both the rookies and the open, wall to wall, wheel to wheel, spins, drive-throughs, you name it. We had it all here, and just thank everyone for watching. And I'll throw it to you for the final call.
Yeah, just a few things to mention here. First thing is our lovely Trackalicious calendar. We have plenty of racing all throughout the week. GT4 Rookies and GT4 Open on Mondays, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, with the Open continuing at 9:30 Eastern. Le Mans Ultimate takes over on Tuesdays, where we do 60-minute races, multi-class action at the beginning part of that series, and then towards the end it'll switch to the LMP2 cars for the later championship. On Wednesdays, Trackalicious has the West Coast Wednesday Championship starting at a late 11 p.m. Eastern Time for all of those living on the West Coast, for a little bit better times for them to start racing. And of course, you do not have to live on the West Coast to participate, as long as the race time works for you. Thursdays switch to iRacing for the mixed GT3 and GT4 championship, starting at 8:30 on Thursdays Eastern Time. Fridays, again, a switch to Le Mans Ultimate, this time with 100-minute races, alternating weeks between the Orica Masters Cup and the Multi-Class Masters. And so, always fun to see the Le Mans Ultimate action. And of course, the coveted Next Level Racing GT3 Pro Championship on Sundays, starting at 8:30 Eastern Time, and with prizes available for those Sunday leagues as well as the Monday ones. In Mondays, the prize is a haptic gaming pad for a random winner of the Rookies Championship, and then the winner of the Open gets that haptic gaming pad. And the winner of the championship on Sundays wins an ERS4 seat for their sim rig. So plenty of exciting stuff on offer from Trackalicious. Make sure you get signed up on SimGrid for all of the available championships we have running. Take it back for a quick second to our lovely studio. Just want to say a quick thank you to everyone watching, everyone participating in the races, everybody who is working in the background, setting up all the races, setting up everything perfectly, and letting us go racing on Mondays in ACC in the GT4s. And with that, that is going to end our lovely stream today on Monday. Good morning, good evening, and good night to all watching. We're going to have a fun raid. We're going to raid This Dad's Bad, so make sure to stick around and support the channel. Spread the love from the sim racing community from one to another. And for Tyler Morgan, I am Kuja Terekov, signing off from Trackalicious. Stick around for the raid.